Greetings, folks. This evening we embark on a journey into the realm of the American Wild West. That magnificent expanse of 19th century tumult, where cleanliness was a mere suggestion and the law danced to its own tune. Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing. But only if you truly find joy in the tales I share here. Share with me in the comments your location and the time on your clock as you join this journey. It's truly captivating to witness the diverse souls gathering from every corner of the globe. Now let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan, to create a gentle, soothing hum and prepare to embark on tonight's adventure together. Step right up to the Wild West, a land where the sun blazes, the dust never settles. And your choice of attire can mean the difference between blending in with the rugged locals or standing out like a greenhorn from the east. Let us embark on this journey with the fundamentals. Purity can be a burden. When your shirt is crisp, immaculate, and neatly tucked, onlookers will draw one of two conclusions. You're either here to gather what is owed, or you might find yourself in a precarious situation, perhaps a blend of both. In this setting, a crisp, white shirt speaks not of style, but rather whispers, "Take me. I'm gentle." Rule number 1 of the dress code: appear as though you've just emerged from a battle. If your garments aren't frayed, mended, or at the very least marked by some dubious substance, you must be a lawman, a banker, or perhaps a newcomer who hasn't yet tasted the bittersweet essence of this place. Extra rewards, should your coat carry a subtle scent of aged tobacco, gunpowder, and an enigmatic aroma that remains unspoken. Hues and shades adhere to a palette reminiscent of a post-apocalyptic landscape. Rich and earthy tones, muted tones of browns and grays, reminiscent of the wear and tear of time and nature's touch. Arriving in a vibrant outfit, like a striking blue vest, will certainly capture eyes, spark envy, and perhaps even provoke the ire of someone who despises such flamboyance. Boots ought to be worn and weathered, telling tales of every journey. Taken gleaming boots whisper of a recent arrival, hinting at delicate, unsuspecting ankles beneath. True survivors dan boots so worn and battered, they might as well be carved from rock. If one possesses a gap within, rejoice, for you have truly become part of the tapestry. What about hats? Indeed, but make your choice with care. A hat that towers high whispers, "I'm hiding something beneath the surface." A hat that's too small gives off the impression of a bewildered child caught in a chaotic showdown. You seek a rugged hat, it's not one from a traveling performer. Indeed, the significance of accessories cannot be overlooked. A bandana around your neck can be quite stylish, unless you tie it in a way that evokes the image of a poet reciting verses as the sun dips below the horizon. Gopher. I utilize this to purify the water for horses, not as an accessory for my outings. Is it optional? A hint of age and wear, a whisper of stories untold? A blade worn and weathered by time? A weathered spur, its once bright metal, now dulled by time. A weathered flask, its surface marked by time, you imagine still holds the warmth of whiskey within. Rust speaks of resilience or surrender, revealing the tales of those who have faced much or chosen to retreat. Each holds a place of honor. In essence, embrace the dust, embrace the grit, and don the kind of expression that conveys. I've spent the night in a barn and found joy in it. In the untamed frontier, those who carry an air of significance often find themselves meeting their fate first in the untamed frontier. Language was a powerful weapon, wielded with caution, and best not directed at a fellow steed. Let's set the record straight. Boasting can lead you into a heap of trouble quicker than a summer bout of dysentery. No one is interested in tales of your swift draw in Missouri, or your supposed battle with a mountain lion, which, if we're being truthful, was likely just a feisty house cat. In this realm, confidence dances like a sprinkle of spice, enhancing every moment. A touch can create a ripple, and if you overdo it, someone might just be curious enough to see how tough you truly are. Thus, the first principle is to keep everything understated. If someone inquires about your shooting skills, simply shrug and reply just a little. Should they inquire about your experiences in a gunfight, respond with, "Not in recent times." even if you've faced more shootouts than dealt cards. Keep it low dash key. To boast is to extend a challenge, often leading to a humbling experience, typically in front of an audience, and often with a dramatic fall. Now let us delve into the art of staring. Refrain from gazing. Refrain from fixing your gaze upon the sheriff. Beware of the figure lurking in the shadows, for the outlaw in the corner holds secrets untold. Beware of the man with a single eye and a trio of blades. He is not one to be gazed upon lightly. In the Wild West, the only thing worthy of your gaze is your drink, and even then, only to ensure it remains still. And then we come to the tale of the horse situation. One might feel inclined to praise a gentleman's steed. Refrain from that action. One might feel an irresistible urge to reach out and stroke the horse. Truly, I wouldn't. One might find themselves compelled to cast a playful wink at a stallion of remarkable grandeur. If you choose this path, brace yourself to face the end with your boots laced tight. In the grand tapestry of Western society, a man's horse holds a revered place. It's nestled just above his mother and just below his trusty revolver to caress it. To tease it, or even to linger your gaze upon it, is seen as a daring challenge or a tantalizing game of seduction. Either conclusion brings satisfaction. What would be the most secure path to take? With a humble demeanor, I choose my words carefully, offering praise only to those who cannot retaliate. Speak of the pleasantness of the day or the quality of the beans. Steer clear of proclaiming your prowess with a firearm unless you're prepared. To showcase that talent right then and there, amidst the crimson flow, the untamed frontier offers little favor to those who thrive in the spotlight. It bestows favor upon those who can saunter into a saloon, request a drink, and depart without leaving a trace of their name or visage in the minds of others. In the vast expanse of the Wild West, towns emerge like stars in the night sky, some shining brightly with hope and opportunity, while others lingered in the shadows of their own tales, fading into myth. Choosing the wrong one was not merely an inconvenience. It was a matter of whether your very bones would become mere decoration in the flickering flames of a saloon. Fireplace. Heed this advice. Steer clear of any town that boasts of its liveliness. That signals showdowns at midday and farewells by evening. When the sign out front is riddled with bullet holes and the only greeter is a vulture perched on a post, it's time to reconsider your path. What you seek is a space of calm, not lifeless, merely lacking in excitement, a realm where weariness blankets the souls, rendering mischief a distant thought, and the dust settles thick enough to slow any pursuit should one dare to stir the stillness. Perhaps what you truly seek is the chance to explore new horizons. Perhaps you're contemplating a journey to a bustling boomtown. Absolutely, without a doubt. Venture into a bustling gold rush town, where fortunes bloom overnight and the shadows of mischief grow just as swiftly. Fortune awaits those who endure, but only if they can recall the hidden treasures of their past. In boomtowns, wealth is amassed, while ethics often take a back seat. Questions remain unasked. Names fade into the shadows of memory. And the only thing more swollen than the prices is the tally of lives lost behind the saloon. Imagine a world where stability reigns, where civilization flourishes, where law guides our actions, safety envelops us like a warm embrace. In a place where the railroad comes to a halt, you'll find a church, a schoolhouse, and perhaps a mayor keeping watch over the small community. It all seems perfect at first glance, but then the truth unfolds. The mayor drowns his sorrows in whiskey. The sheriff has taken 2 bullets this week. And the preacher has a side gig dealing cards under the dim lights of the saloon. In this vast expanse, the notion of a safe town is but a fleeting illusion. There are simply places where the end comes more gradually. Before you embark on this journey, ponder a few essential questions. Is it true that this place holds more resting places than homes? When you step into a room, do others lock eyes with you or extend their hands towards something nearby? Is the general store offering coffins right beside the canned beans? If any of those resonate with you, continue your journey. Ultimately, the ideal Wild West town isn't defined by wealth, trains, or love stories. It's the tale where you blend into the shadows, where inquiries about your origins are absent. Not crucially, where no one mistakenly identifies you as a target meant for their aim. Should you believe that enduring the Wild West would grant you the luxury of a restful slumber? You may be afflicted with a peculiar form of optimism, one seldom encountered beyond the banks of the Mississippi. In this realm, slumber is not a reprieve, it is a game of chance, a crucial yet perilous moment of inattention. Indeed, just as your body requires a moment to rejuvenate, so too does your noble steed. Yet unlike your noble steed, you lack the keen vision on the periphery or the power to fend off dangers with a swift kick while resting. Begin with the choices. Before you, there are 3 to consider. Option 1. The saloon floor awaits. Enchanting, steeped in history, drenched in a decade's tales of spilled drinks, broken smiles, and perhaps a hint of crimson. Should fortune smile upon you, you may find yourself in the company of 3 other motionless souls and a dog that could either be lifeless or merely dozing after a scuffle. In any case, refunds are not an option. Option 2, a cozy cot at the local boarding house, awaits the weary traveler. It presents a semblance of cleanliness, adorned with walls that stand tall, perhaps even a ceiling overhead, and a bed frame that hints at comfort. Yet do not be deceived by appearances. Each snore from the adjacent room is like a brewing storm, a clash of chaos just waiting to unfold. And securing your door feels like a futile endeavor. Many locks serve more as symbols than as practical barriers. Option 3. The vast expanse of nature. In the heart of the wild, where nature reigns supreme, silence envelops you like a thick blanket. Here, coyotes roam freely, and bandits lurk in the shadows, while sudden storms can sweep in without warning. It's a tapestry of classic wilderness elements, with the added thrill of waking up to the unexpected sensation of something crawling on you, perhaps even with its own thoughts to share. What is it that you engage in? You slumber with the vigilance of a watchful creature, one eye alert, one hand poised for action, and always avoiding the confines of the wall. It's how you find yourself quietly swindled, or even worse, embraced by a wandering prospector. Here's a little nugget of wisdom. If you find yourself in that hazy state between dreams and reality, and hear someone softly calling your name, it's best to remain silent. It could be a specter from the beyond, a figment of your imagination, or perhaps a cunning individual ready to peddle you a piece of non-existent territory. The secret lies in embracing the art of napping with fervor and frequency. 10 minutes crouched behind a barrel, 15 in the saddle, as your horse feigns knowledge of the path ahead, and an hour spent in a jail cell before the sheriff finally grasps that you're not really under arrest in the untamed frontier. Essence of existence flows through water. It weaves together threads of illness, trickery, and at times undeniable evidence that the divine possesses a playful spirit. Let us embark on this journey with the most apparent of beginnings, out here. The water seems to have a sinister agenda. It may appear serene, may echo the soft whispers of a babbling brook, yet do not be deceived. That bubbling stream harbors a greater host of bacteria than a barber's well-worn tooth pliers. Picture this. Water sources were the vibrant heart of the community, bustling with life. They weren't merely places for thirsty cowboys to quench their thirst. They attracted horses, cattle, bandits, stray dogs, and even the odd prospector who had been soaking in the same spot since the days of Lincoln. If you find yourself dipping your cup directly into the creek, take a moment to revel in the fact that you've just welcomed the entire local ecosystem into your very being. One might consider boiling it, provided one possesses a fire, a pot, and a rare moment of tranquility, an elusive treasure in the Wild West, akin to seeking a mythical creature. Instead, many simply consumed it, clinging to the hope that their insides possessed the resilience to endure. Naturally, for those with wealth or a daring spirit, the choice will lean towards whiskey instead. In a technical sense, it lacks hydrating properties. In truth, it tends to draw moisture away. But hey, at least it delivers a burn so fierce that it makes you forget all about your thirst. That's the essence of exploration. Press the signs. Overlook the source. The gentle caress of rainwater, wishing you all the best on your journey ahead. It either remains elusive or it arrives in a torrent, sweeping away your mule, your hat, and a good portion of your self-worth. Capturing it in a bucket is quite the adventure, but imagine the surprise of waking up to a squirrel joyfully racing around inside it. In certain towns, there existed wells. Focus on had. Wells may run dry, crumble, or become tainted, whether by accident or design, amid quarrels over territory, livestock, or the age-old grievances of culinary insults. When presented with a cup of fresh well water, it's wise to inquire about the number of souls who partook of it yesterday and how many remain among the living today. In essence, in the untamed expanse of the Wild West, water is far from being your ally. It's a captivating deceiver, eh? Cunning ally, and perhaps the final flavor that dances on your tongue before you find yourself resting in eternal slumber. Allow me to clarify. Something important? In the rugged expanse of the Wild West, meals were not crafted for pleasure. It was prepared just enough to keep you from meeting your end right away, though even that was a gamble. Your nourishment will be drawn from a handful of essential food categories: beans, biscuits, bacon, and deception. Beans abound in every corner. A horse of pinto and black, perhaps touched by enchantment. They simmer in a pot above a flame that has witnessed more than the passage of time in countless unions. They arrive with a spoon devoid of any seasoning, in a haunting sense that you've encountered this very bowl before, perhaps even this precise one. Biscuits resemble less a nourishing meal and more a collection of edible pebbles. When fortune smiles upon you, they radiate warmth. Should you find yourself unprepared, they serve a dual purpose as formidable instruments of defense. Some cowboys hone their skills on rugged stones, launching their trusty tools at the elusive coyotes. Some simply steep them in coffee until they take on the essence of melancholy. But let us not forget the allure of bacon, the magnificent centerpiece. The savory, indulgent morsel that brings a fleeting sense of joy only to reveal the truth of a month spent in the embrace of pork and remorse. As your arteries begin to voice their discontent, yet nothing captures the essence of frontier cuisine. Quite like a hearty stew, a wondrous, enigmatic concoction. Forever effervescent, never doubted. One does not inquire about its contents. You endure what lies within. Should it crunch, simply continue to savor each bite. If it stirs, act as though it remains still. When one claims it tastes like chicken, they must possess a vivid imagination, or perhaps a rather dim view of poultry. Ah, the sweet finale to a delightful meal. How charming. What you might call dessert here is nothing more than hardtack soaked in rainwater, or perhaps a bit of aged molasses you bartered a boot for. In the untamed expanse of the Wild West, if you stumbled upon a pie, it was likely conjured by the devil himself, or perhaps crafted by someone with a sinister intent to take down a marshal. Gather round, for a tale of coffee awaits us. Frontier. Coffee transcends mere beverage status. It stands as a profound exploration of thought and existence. It's darker than the deepest abyss, denser than the heaviest of oils, and concocted in a cauldron that has seen the ravages of time since. The great conflict. It has the power to invigorate your senses, open up your airways, and perhaps even refresh your recollections. In the untamed frontier, your steed is more than mere transport. It's your companion in the shared journey of life, a confidant in times of need, a guardian watching over your well-being, and at times, the sole entity in your existence that possesses a keen sense of self-preservation. Let's set the scene. Your horse stands before you, eyes wide with uncertainty, and honestly, who can blame it? Ah, a daring soul you are, venturing into the shadows of an unknown canyon as the sun dips below the horizon. What a curious choice. Indeed, your horse, on the other hand, is well aware that the last 3 souls who attempted such a feat have become little more than a meal for the buzzards. This creature, caked in mud, resolute, and bearing the demeanor of a weary educator, possesses a keen intellect, a heightened awareness of its environment, and an endless capacity for judgment. Horses possess an uncanny ability to perceive danger long before it reaches your awareness. Whispers of distant rustling reach their ears, Vibrations dance through the earth beneath them, and an instinctual awareness warns them of impending doom. And you, as you stand there, captivated by the scenery, your mind drifts to the source of that enchanting coyote choir echoing in the distance. When your horse comes to an unexpected halt, rest assured it's not out of commission. Heed the caution being presented. Should it choose to turn on its own, allow it to do so. It's simply the truth of the matter. It's rescuing your unfortunate self. What if it casts you aside? Imagine you are on the brink of an encounter that could lead to your demise, and as you descend into the unknown, you express your gratitude for the journey ahead. The nourishment of your horse holds great significance as well. Perhaps some hay, a handful of oats, and if you're feeling generous, an apple might just earn you a glance of mild approval. However, do not anticipate warmth. What you see before you is not a dog. Behold a creature weighing between 1 to 200 pounds that will bear you across towering mountains, through rushing rivers, and boldly into the heart of peril. Yet it refuses to embrace, and for goodness sake, avoid naming it something adorable like Snickerdoodle. Choose a name that carries weight, something like Dustbite, Widowmaker, or perhaps even Jeff, a tale of significance. This horse will accompany you through the years, outlasting many friendships and romantic entanglements. Keeping things in good shape is essential. Gently sweep it away. Examine its hooves closely. Engage with it from time to time. Not out of pleasure, but rather to ensure you're not entirely foolish. Trust is a treasure, and your horse holds the bar higher than even the most vigilant of lawmen. In the rugged expanse of the Wild West, toting a weapon transcended mere self-defense. It was a tale woven around the art of blending in with society. Not having one felt like stepping into a saloon with a bold declaration of your vulnerability, stitched right on your hat. Now, the question of whether you possess the skill to wield a weapon is entirely up to you. Many did not. Half of them couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from within its walls, yet that was of no consequence. The aim was to project an air of capability, or at the very least to convey a readiness to embark on a venture that was undeniably reckless. Indeed, wield a firearm. A firearm, ideally, weathered, marked by time, perhaps a screw has gone astray. That whispers of experiences, even if the only tale it tells is of your own reflection striking poses in the mirror. And remember to dan it as if it has always been a part of you. Allow it to dangle freely, a bit off-kilter, reminiscent of a casual menace. When you dan that piece as if it were a cherished First Communion gift, the world around you will sense the ruse, and they'll cleverly recalibrate their plans in response. Unable to purchase a pistol? Wield a blade. Rusty is doing well. Decorative raises eyebrows. Should it bend? Take a moment to unfold it and gaze into the horizon as if lost in a haunting memory. It matters not the specifics, only that it appears intricate. Are you still in a tight spot financially? Embrace spontaneity. A finely honed spoon, a trusty slingshot, a sturdy stick adorned with nails. Anything you can brandish when discussions grow heated. Extra credit if it has that charming, handcrafted vibe and a touch of unpredictability. Yet keep in mind, the desire to wield it may not truly be there. Conflicts erupt with a cacophony, spiraling into chaos, and are often deemed unwise by the numbers. Your weapon is a mere display, a definitive conclusion to discussions, a mobile safeguard. It ought to convey I'm not worth the hassle, rather than inviting a challenge to my reflexes. With that in mind, should you decide to take it out, make sure to fully embrace it. There's a certain kind of humiliation that washes over you when you brandish a weapon only to discover you've forgotten its very purpose, or even more troubling, that it remains unloaded. Avoid becoming that person. He often finds his final resting place close to the outhouse. Trust is a delicate thread in the Wild West, akin to a whiskey bottle perched precariously on a poker table or a wagon wheel bound by sheer hope. Should you encounter someone who goes by Doc, Dutch, or Dusty, consider yourself warned. Just cross paths with an individual who is likely to lead you into mischief, perhaps even a precarious fate. Let us begin our tale with Doc. It certainly carries an air of dignity, doesn't it? Incorrect. Doc isn't a physician. Once he might have perused a medical tome, perhaps even extracted a bullet with nothing but a spoon. Yet more plausibly, he's simply the one with the steadiest hands when the morning light breaks after a night of revelry. When Doc hands you a glass of whiskey to ease your suffering, brace yourself. It likely signals an impending amputation, perhaps due to an unfortunate error. And so we come to Dutch. There's a mystery surrounding his name, for he's known as Dutch, yet he hails from neither Holland nor speaks the language of the land. Yet he always devises a scheme, one that inevitably leads to you seeking refuge in a hayloft while Dutch gallops away with the spoils, your trusty steed, and a contrived apology that feels all too practiced. It's wise to steer clear of Dutch, particularly when he begins with, "Here's what we're going to do. Gather round, for it's time to share the tale of Dusty." Dusty came by his name honestly, for it seems he hasn't seen a bath since the dawn of time itself, long before the invention of rope. He's familiar with every hidden path, every clever ruse, every wanted poster bearing his likeness. His warmth is almost overwhelming, a kindness that feels boundless. He'll gladly divide the beans, share the warmth of the firewood, and stand watch over your mule. Yet in the blink of an eye he vanishes, taking with him your boots, your rifle, and leaving behind a heartfelt note that simply reads, "Thanks." When a person presents themselves with a nickname, take it as a sign that it likely stems from either a colorful past filled with mischief or a legendary brawl that left an impression. Place your faith in those who bear their full names with pride, especially if they fidget at the thought of you abbreviating them. In this world, nicknames hold power, and anyone known as Whiskey Pete, Rattlesnake Joe, or Sweet Lou has either taken a life or is on the verge of persuading you to cross that line. So wear a grin, give a knowing nod, and keep one eye peeled for the unexpected. Should Doc, Dutch, and Dusty arrive together, band in the fire, grab the beans, and make your escape. In the Wild West, gambling was more than mere entertainment. It was a communal affair where all played along, feigning knowledge of the rules. Until the tension escalated and a gun was drawn, let us embark on a journey with Pharaoh, the most beloved game in the saloon. Yet shrouded in mystery for many, it weaves together cards, wagers, and a cacophony of voices. In this tale, the choices are clear. You can either take your time in defeat or rush headlong into it. Regardless of the path you choose, your funds ultimately find their way into another's whiskey treasury. One might assume that my poker skills are merely charming. How quaint. Pharaoh is the wild relative of poker, nurtured by the untamed and schooled in the art of subtle conflict. It rushes forward with a swift pace, speaks in its own unique dialect, and is frequently overseen by a charismatic figure who may very well be playing tricks behind the scenes. Gather round, for I have a tale to share. The saloon, my friends, is a master of fortune, always emerging victorious in the end. Even if fortune smiles upon you, hold your applause. Celebration captures the spotlight. Envy is sparked by the allure of attention. Jealousy ignites conflict. Should victory be yours, take your leave. Softly stride forward as if the world remains unchanged. Offer a token of gratitude to the dealer, wear a serene smile, and slip away into the shadows before anyone begins to question the fortune that has favored you. Indeed, the realm of games of chance extends far beyond the confines of cards. Picture this, a game of chance, with dice rolling across the table, the sharp thrill of knife throwing, a contest of endurance to see who can drink the most without succumbing, and the ever-exciting mystery of what's bubbling in that stew. Every venture fraught with peril, offering little in return, and best left untried by those who value their well-being. Yet, we mustn't overlook the grandest of all wagers, the union of marriage. In the untamed frontier, tying the knot was akin to entering a lifelong pact with a partner who likely carried the scent of horses and the weight of past encounters with bears. The ceremony unfolds swiftly, the paperwork vanishes into thin air, and the aftermath becomes the stuff of legends. Indeed, while some individuals discover the sweet embrace of love, others unveil the tangled web of their partner's secrets. 3. Aliases, 5 debts, and an irate ex wielding a shotgun, affectionately known as Martha. You'll know it's serious when you wake up one day and your horse is gone, but your new in-laws aren't. Without knowledge of the rules, one should refrain from joining the game. Should the stakes appear minimal, take a closer look. They might be tucked away beneath the table, waiting to be discovered. Should a mysterious figure named Slim extend an invitation to learn a delightful game, it would be wise to scan your surroundings for the nearest exit and begin your departure. In the untamed frontier, every choice is a roll of the dice, particularly when it comes to devotion. The Wild West might appear grand and enchanting in art, yet in reality, weather here is a tempestuous dance of unpredictable moods and fierce elements. Let us embark on this journey with the warmth of the flames. Summer on the frontier is not merely warm. It transforms into a vivid dreamscape where your boots fuse with the earth and your hat shifts from a stylish accessory to an essential shield against the elements. Shade is a rare and elusive presence, often claimed by a seasoned rattlesnake, that has made it its domain. You'll find yourself drenched in leather. Your canteen will seem like a wicked jest. And despite your efforts to quench your thirst, you'll remain parched, merely a touch moist and deeply troubled. Then arrives the wind, which does not merely blow. It sweeps and scours with purpose. It hurls grains of sand into your teeth, your coffee, your very essence. It seeks out that solitary, vulnerable spot on your skin and scrubs it away, leaving only the weight of remorse behind. The locals affectionately call it the breeze, a charming term reminiscent of how a stampede might be whimsically dubbed a jog. But hold on, we mustn't overlook the rain, that elusive and often doubted occurrence. When it arrives, it bursts forth with unrestrained force. It descends with a fury reminiscent of ancient tales, transforming the earth into a thick mire and your shelter into an unexpected oasis. Paths dissolve into nothingness. Mules are thrown into a frenzy. And you come to the realization that your boots possess a waterproof quality, much like that of a sponge. And then comes the season of winter. The snow in the west carries no whimsy. It is a stealthy predator, lurking in the stillness. It arrives unexpectedly, enveloping all in its path, transforming your everyday life into a gripping tale of endurance. The water turns to ice, your fingers lose their warmth, and you find yourself giving names to the firewood, seeking companionship in the flickering flames. Here's a little wisdom for you. A clear blue sky can be deceiving. Beware, for it is a cunning snare. As you venture into the world, the sun may greet you with warmth, but beware. For lurking in the skies are the fierce bolts of lightning, the icy shards of hail, or perhaps a mischievous dust devil, eager to snatch away your hat and maybe even your very essence. In this realm, the weather is not a source of pleasure, but a challenge to be faced. The sun scorches your skin, the wind strips away your defenses, and the rain taunts your very existence. Your attire seems perpetually off, your equipment is consistently damp, and your spirits are forever attuned to the whims of the elements. The film has missed the mark. In the untamed frontier, one doesn't simply declare, "I'm leaving in stride," off into the horizon with a crescendo of music echoing behind them. Do you have any idea what fate awaits those individuals? They find themselves pursued or even more hauntingly etched in memory. The true masters, they depart like whispers in the night. There were no parting words, no glances exchanged, and certainly no last toast at the bar. You clear your tab with a swift motion, offer a subtle nod to the unseen, and fade into the distance like a figure burdened with debts, cloaked in secrets, and driven by an instinct for survival. Ah, my friend, lingering in one place for too long is a roll of the dice. The more time you spend in one place, the greater the chance that someone will see you as a familiar face from their past, perhaps a rival, a debtor, or a target of vengeance from a heated game of cards. In the most favorable outcome, their desire is simply for your horse. When the omens begin to unfold, when the saloon piano halts its melody the moment you step through the door, when the sheriff inquires about your origins once more, or when an unfamiliar face persistently flips a coin while locking eyes with your boots, it's time to mount your steed. Silent farewells possess a unique elegance. As the first light of dawn creeps in, you gather your belongings with the utmost care, ensuring not a whisper escapes your lips. What you set aside are the loud, the nostalgic, and the fiery. When parting ways, let the farewell linger in the air. Shrouded in mystery, I ventured east for business. That could signify a myriad of possibilities, perhaps a deal in the making, an impending conflict, or simply an overwhelming urge to enjoy a peaceful breakfast without the threat of gunfire. And keep your gaze forward. In the untamed expanse of the Wild West, the past holds no treasures, only the echoes of missteps and the clumsy attempts of those who dare to draw their guns. Looking to build a legacy? Remain in battle, yearning to thrive beyond the age of 40, gallop into the unknown while the world remains oblivious. A heartbeat surpasses any legacy one might leave behind. Even better, depart before the moment arrives. Leave in the midst of a tale, in the heart of a toast, in the company of a feast. Days will pass as they ponder your absence, caught in the dilemma of whether to pursue your path. They ought not to. A lively saloon brimming with oversized hats and even larger egos, one can easily find themselves captivated by the most boisterous character in the crowd. He often regales us with tales of how he bravely faced off against 3 Apaches, 2 bounty hunters, and a fierce thunderstorm. Everything unfolds before the morning meal. Disregard his presence. By Friday, his story will come to an end. But the true peril lies with the figure lurking in the shadows. Watching from the corner, the individual cradling their drink, savoring each moment as time drifts by. The figure that stands silent, unblinking since your arrival, as if hewn from the very essence of ancient wood, that's the one who emerged victorious from 5 shootouts, navigated through 3 ambushes, and endured 1 marriage. His silence doesn't stem from shyness. He remains silent, for he believes that words squander precious air, and he conserves his breath for the moments when someone requires a final farewell. In the untamed frontier, those who chatter make their noise, while the silent ones weave their schemes in the shadows. They assess you carefully. They tally the number of steps leading to the door. They are well aware of the floorboard that creaks and the location of the closest firearm. Even if it belongs to you, one might easily confuse silence with tranquility. A grave misstep. The boisterous souls ignite the clashes. The silent ones bring it to a close. With remarkable speed and precision, often before the bartender can even think to evade. And don't be fooled into thinking you're safe just because someone is courteous. Indeed, my dear, it doesn't imply that he won't take aim at you through the soup bowl if he suspects you're reaching for something. In the West, the facade of civility often conceals a deeper undercurrent of violence. When a gentleman declines a drink, offers a nod devoid of a smile, and keeps his hat on even indoors, it is wise to show him the respect he deserves. Exercise caution. And in no scenario should you dare to challenge him to anything, neither poker, nor horseshoes, or even the lightest of conversations. For there exists a tale of why the graveyard is populated by boisterous souls. While the silent ones continue their journey through the ages, in the Wild West, whiskey held a significance beyond mere refreshment. It was a way of life, a justification, and at times, a plea in the courtroom. A bullet pierced the saloon wall, echoing through the air. The amber elixir that warms the soul and ignites the imagination. Join lives with a mysterious figure amidst the thrill of a card game. Whiskey, awoke in a peculiar state, devoid of trousers, beside a prickly cactus and a goat who goes by the name of Tobias. Without a doubt, whiskey it is. Pointing the finger at the whiskey is a classic custom in these parts. It's the cowboy's twist on the classic excuse. My dog ate it, and what could be more delightful? It is embraced by many. One might not anticipate. Wise choices from a fellow who has been indulging in spirits since the break of dawn. Now let us not mistake whiskey for mere flavor. It carries the flavor of remorse, igniting with the fire of truth. Yet it fulfills its purpose. It dulls the senses, clouds your recollections, and for a fleeting moment transforms dreadful notions into brilliant inspirations. One might envision the moment, feeling the thrill of possibility as if leaping across. That ravine is within reach. Oh, absolutely. I have complete faith in this enigmatic figure adorned with face tattoos and lacking eyebrows. Whiskey serves as a remarkable bridge among people, uniting them in shared moments and experiences. Imagine yourself as a ranch hand, a gunfighter, or perhaps even the esteemed town mayor. By the third shot, a chorus of slurred voices fills the air, all singing the same tune as they engage in a spirited arm wrestling match at the same table. It unites souls for a fleeting moment, just before the chaos erupts. When someone points out your missteps, simply respond with, "I don't recall. It must have been." No one will bat an eye, not even the sheriff, who's probably sipping from his own bottle of convenient excuses. Yet, take heed, for whiskey is not the answer to life's troubles. It delays their return, often accompanied by a simmering resentment and a noose in hand. And it has a peculiar way of transforming a single drink into, "Why is the jailer addressing me by my first name?" Yet, the essence of the frontier code endures. When the weight of reality grows too heavy, whiskey steps in as the perfect escape. Cast your blame without hesitation. Let it flow abundantly, and allow the allure of a captivating tale to overshadow the truth. Keep in mind, the dawn that follows, that responsibility rests with you. The whiskey remains silent on the bruises, the debts, the curious fact that you now seem to possess half of a mule trading enterprise. So lift your glass, savor the taste, and get ready to point fingers at the bottle. Out here, the whiskey doesn't mend your life, merely clouds your vision, leaving you blissfully unaware of the cracks that run deep. In the untamed frontier, every soul yearned to carve their name into the annals of legend. But they soon learned the fates that awaited such aspirations, dramatic, agonizing, and often entangled with the wrath of a spurned spouse to truly endure. The challenges of the frontier embrace the art of being unremarkable. Embrace the role of the forgotten soul, the one who never triumphed in battle, never seized the riches, and never stirred the pot in the lively tavern. In essence, exist as a whisper, fade away like a fleeting thought. Fame in this realm is akin to a slow-acting poison, a sentence that lingers before it claims its toll. Once your name starts to circulate, it transforms into a quest. One fateful day, a fiery young soul, untouched by the trials of life, will arrive, eyes narrowed in intensity, and boldly challenge another to a duel at the stroke of noon. What is the reason behind this? For it was the day you took aim and sent a can tumbling from its perch on the fence, a moment that sparked a tale shared among friends. Each rogue, bearing a name that echoes through the tales, finds their likeness immortalized on a wanted poster. In the journey of every hero, a climactic confrontation awaits. Yet the fellow who tends to his own affairs pairs his worn-out boots and offers a simple nod of his hat. He passes through to the next town, leaving no trace in the memories of those he encounters. That is liberation. It's not the kind filled with fireworks and grand speeches, but rather the kind where no one is pursuing you with a rope or a lingering grudge. So forego the embellishments, resist the urge to etch your name into the saloon table, and avoid the temptation to dazzle others with your past tales. It's hard to believe that you were nurtured by the wild and schooled in the ways of wisdom. Keep your focus steady, ensure your steed is well cared for, and let your words be few. Allow others to pursue their own fame. Allow them to strike grand poses against the backdrop of the setting sun, weaving tales of a life lived in the fast lane. And you, in a distant town, you'll find yourself savoring coffee that delights the senses rather than assaults them, and resting in a bed that carries no trace of your past, free from the marks of your journey. For in the heart of the untamed frontier lies the true secret to enduring its challenges. Refrain from being captivating, exude skill, embody kindness, and make your exit before curiosity takes hold. And if anyone inquires about your history, simply shrug it off. Well, it was a modest affair. Next, let's shift our focus to the weather, which, as we all understand, seems to have a mind of its own and might just be out to get you. For here, It's not about etching oneself into the annals of time. It's about standing tall and never faltering. In the year 69 BCE, a girl emerged from the royal palace of Alexandria, destined to captivate the world. Her allure was not merely in her beauty, as tales often embellish, but in her intellect, her eloquence, and her remarkable knack for survival. What is her name? Cleopatra, 7 Philippata. The very name resonated with a celestial quality, and she was destined to embody its essence. Yet, before all else, there lies a tempest. She belonged to the illustrious Ptolemaic dynasty, a storied lineage of Macedonian Greeks who had governed Egypt since the era of Alexander the Great. They carried the lineage of Greece in their veins, adorned themselves in the fineries of Egypt, and embodied the kind of dysfunction that only those of royal descent could truly understand. Imagine a home where the bonds of family twist into unexpected unions, and dark schemes brew beneath the surface. That was the mark of the Ptolemaic dynasty. What of Cleopatra? She was the keenest blade among them all. Her father Ptolemy XII, affectionately known as Arlitz, or the flute player, indeed had a heart that danced to the rhythm of music rather than the weighty matters of governance. He won the favor of the Romans through such relentless bribery of senators that it brought Egypt to the brink of bankruptcy. As the furious crowds surged toward him, he escaped the nation like a musician fleeing from a blaze. At the tender age of 11, Cleopatra witnessed the precarious nature of thrones, and she was keenly observing every detail. What set Cleopatra apart was more than mere survival instinct. In a remarkable departure from those who came before her, she truly embraced the Egyptian language, immersing herself in its rich tapestry. Many of the Ptolemies showed little interest. Envisioned themselves as sovereigns of ancient Greece, reigning over a distant land. Once upon a time, in the heart of ancient Egypt, there lived a queen whose name echoed through the ages, Cleopatra. She welcomed Egypt with open arms. With a voice that resonated in the hearts of the people, she embraced their language, adorned herself with the essence of the goddess Isis, and delved into the mysteries of the cosmos and the art of healing. She was being prepared not merely to govern, but to endure beyond her foes. Within the confines of the palace, Cleopatra observed a vivid display of political paranoia unfolding before her eyes. In a tale of treachery, brothers turned against their own sisters. 2 sisters conspired to harm their nephews. Yes, the servants remained silent, their gazes cast downward. Cleopatra, with her eyes wide open, navigated the snake pit with a sense of purpose. She was not biding her time for a chance to claim authority. She was discovering the art of capturing it, in a realm where women were urged to wear smiles and embrace silence. Cleopatra was crafting her orations with fervor. She would not take her place beside a pharaoh. She would rise to be the ruler of all, the pharaoh, as Egypt stood on the edge of turmoil. With the shadow of Roman ambitions stretching ever closer, the girl born amidst the chaos readied herself to unleash a tempest. In the year 51 BCE, the passing of her father thrust Cleopatra VII into the role of co-ruler of Egypt, a title that held weight on paper yet hinted at the complexities to come. The decree laid down by her father's will and sanctioned by Rome compelled her to share the regal seat with her young brother husband Ptolemy XIII, who was just 10 years old. Indeed, my dear brother husband, welcome back to the Ptolemaic family tree, complex web that resembles a tangled shrub, rife with intrigue, betrayal, and dark secrets. In the beginning, Cleopatra sought to establish her dominance as the foremost leader. Her visage graced the surface of early coins, a declaration in the realm of ancient monarchs. This is my empire now. Yet her advisors, a number of whom remained steadfast to the regents of her brother, harbored different ambitions. In the span of a year or two, she found herself cast out from Alexandria, her own palace, taken from her by a group of youthful conspirators clad in togas, alongside men whose scents mingled with stale wine and unquenchable ambition. Cleopatra held her composure. She held her head high. She made no effort to quietly slip back in through the kitchen in a bold move. She escaped to Syria, where she set about gathering her own forces. At the age of 21, having just lost your crown and facing foes adorned in eyeliner, it becomes Clear that sometimes the most satisfying form of retribution involves enlisting mercenaries. In the heart of Alexandria, the court of Ptolemy, the 13th, unfolded like a chaotic tapestry. Woven with threads of incompetence and insecurity, his advisors, especially a man named Pathinus, thought they could manipulate the young king as if he were a mere puppet. Alas, they did not foresee that Cleopatra, vibrant, enraged, and astonishingly knowledgeable, still had more to reveal. With determination, she led her troops to the eastern border of Egypt, readying herself for the impending civil war. The Nile would flow with riches, deceit, and perhaps a handful of dismembered limbs. Yet, as the air thickened with rising tensions, a surprising figure emerged upon the sands of Egypt: Julius Caesar. In a twist of fate, the Roman general pursued his formidable rival, Pompey the Great, all the way to the sands of Egypt only to find that Ptolemy's advisors had taken matters into their own hands, eliminating Pompey before he could arrive. Caesar was filled with dread. He had not wished for Pompey's demise just yet, especially not as a gesture of diplomatic hospitality. Cleopatra, a master of cunning, recognized the chance that lay before her. In the annals of history, Caesar emerged as a figure of immense power. Rome observed closely, and she was resolute in her determination to escape the shadows of exile. What unfolded next would be etched in memory: a tapestry, a hidden passage, and one of the most dramatic entrances in the annals of political history. The clash between siblings was on the verge of being disrupted by the allure of romance, sway of propaganda, and the presence of a Roman named Julius. Picture this: Cleopatra, the enigmatic queen, stealthily making her way into Julius Caesar's chambers, cleverly concealed within a rolled-up carpet. Bravo to your imagination. You've caught the whispers of ages past and the brushstrokes of a bygone era. Whether it was a sack or a linen bundle that carried the weight, the essence of the message remained unchanged. Cleopatra entered without a sound. She stepped inside. At the age of 21, she stood on the brink of her journey. At the age of 52, Caesar stood at a pivotal moment in his life. He emerged from the chaos of a civil war, weary and burdened by the weight of political fallout, likely disinterested in the intrigues of the palace. Yet Cleopatra was acutely aware of the man he truly was, and even more crucially, the empire from which he hailed. Rome held a deep admiration for cleverness. Rome held a deep appreciation for audacity. Rome was captivated by a compelling tale. What of Cleopatra? She was on the verge of crafting one for herself. As Caesar wrapped up his initial exchange with her, he found himself not merely intrigued, but wholly devoted, with unwavering dedication. He chose to take his stand in Alexandria, proclaiming neutrality in the tumultuous civil war between Cleopatra and her brother, all the while subtly aligning himself with her interests in every significant manner. Ptolemy the 13th simmered with frustration from his distant vantage point in the city, likely pondering the curious sight of Caesar sharing a meal with his sister while he remained on the far bank of the Nile, surrounded by an army growing ever more restless. And so the clash began. As Ptolemy's forces encircled the palace, a spark was lit, heralding the onset of what would be known as the Alexandrian War. For months, Caesar and a small Roman garrison found themselves encircled in a foreign city, valiantly defending the palace alongside the steadfast loyalists of Cleopatra. In a dramatic turn of events, Caesar commanded that a section of the Alexandrian harbor be set aflame to safeguard his supply lines. However, in this fiery endeavor, he inadvertently ignited a portion of the legendary Library of Alexandria, a tragic twist in the tale. A little misstep. Long last, help came pouring in. In a tumultuous clash, Ptolemy's forces faced their ultimate defeat, the chaos of battle consuming them entirely. In a tragic twist of fate, the young monarch met his end beneath the waves, ensnared by the very weight of his regal attire. With her brother husband gone, Cleopatra found herself once more in the position of sole ruler, a powerful figure in her own right. So close. In the grand tradition of the Ptolemies, she found herself bound to wed yet another brother. This time it was Ptolemy the 14th, a mere lad of around 12 years, who presented an even lesser challenge. In the time of Cleopatra's reign, he chose to remain in the shadows. And what of Caesar? He hesitated, savoring the moment. For what feels like an eternity, some whispered of his enchantment, while others speculated on his cunning mind. In a moment of great significance, Cleopatra welcomed a son into the world, whom she named Caesarion, a name that echoed the legacy of Caesar, boldly declaring him as the heir to his illustrious lineage. In the grand tapestry of history, whether Caesar chose to recognize the boy in the shadows of intimacy or not, Cleopatra, with her flair for the dramatic, ensured that the world was well aware of his existence in the vibrant land of Egypt. Rome had bestowed upon her a child, Egypt had gifted her a prince, and in that moment, she had woven a new tapestry for the future. Once the dust of the Alexandrian War had settled, Cleopatra VII emerged as the undisputed ruler of Egypt, yet she yearned. For more than the title of queen over the Nile? No, her dreams soared far beyond the confines of sand and pyramids. She yearned for the gaze of Rome, to be cherished, revered, and perhaps even held in a touch of awe. In the year 46 BCE, Cleopatra embarked on a journey across the seas to the grand city of Rome. With a flair that demanded attention, this was Cleopatra, after all. She made her entrance on a magnificent barge, accompanied by a dazzling entourage that whispered and chattered, causing the Roman elite to clutch their pearls in astonishment. And trailing behind her was her toddler son Caesarion, whose mere presence posed a challenge. In the grand tapestry of Roman history, Julius Caesar had already woven the thread of succession through his grandnephew, Octavian, who stood as the official heir in the heart of Rome. Yet Caesar embraced Cleopatra with open arms. He offered her a place just across the Tiber from his own. In the dim light of the chamber, they gathered around the table, sharing meals and weaving intricate plots, their voices low and conspiratorial, as Roman senators murmured secrets into their cups of diluted wine. Cleopatra was not a spouse of Rome. She had yet to earn the esteemed title of Roman citizen. To the watchful gaze of the conservative, she appeared as an enchanting outsider, reigning as a queen in the very core of the republic. The tide of public sentiment shifted unfavorably. The people held Caesar in high regard, yet their hearts were troubled by the transformation he was undergoing. A figure draped in regal purple robes took his place upon a chair of gleaming gold, captivating a queen with tales worthy of a pharaoh's court. With her enchanting presence and mystical ceremonies, Cleopatra only intensified the intrigue. To some, she was the very essence of Rome's deepest dread, a regal figure draped in silk and adorned with eyeliner. And then, the fateful Ides of March arrived, in the fateful year of 44 BCE. A dramatic turn of events unfolded as Julius Caesar met his end at the hands of a band of senators who believed they were acting in defense of the Republic. In the heart of Rome, Cleopatra faced an unexpected peril that loomed over her like a shadow. Alone and unguarded, with no companions to stand by her side, and a child who now loomed as a potential danger, she took flight, returned to Alexandria, returning to the realm she truly governed. In the absence of a morning parade, there lingered a silence, a quietude that spoke volumes, yet offered no grand farewell. Yet Cleopatra departed with treasures in hand. She experienced a Caesarion, and even more significantly, she possessed a tale to tell. In the land of Egypt, she boldly declared her son to be not merely the offspring of Caesar, but his true and rightful heir. Let the city of Rome engage in its debates. Allow Octavian to sulk. Cleopatra had navigated through yet another tumultuous upheaval in the realm of politics, and now she would ready Egypt for a future where her lineage, not that of Rome, would reign supreme over the Mediterranean. That was the vision, after all. In the wake of Caesar's assassination, Rome transformed into a relentless arena of ambition, where the stakes were life and death. On one side stood Octavian, youthful and shrewd, and heir to Caesar's legacy in a most troublesome manner. On the other side stood Mark Antony, an older figure exuding charisma, a general commanding the unwavering loyalty of the legions, and possessing the revelry of a satyr enjoying a holiday. From her vantage point in Alexandria, Cleopatra observed the unfolding chaos, her mind worried with strategy, akin to a master tactician poised to make her next calculated move with pieces shaped like cobras. In the year 41 BCE, Mark Antony called upon Cleopatra to the city of Tarsus, seeking an explanation for her supposed allegiance to those who opposed Caesar. She might have chosen to dispatch a scroll. She embarked on a golden barge, its sails infused with the fragrance of incense. Adorned as the goddess Isis, lounging beneath a canopy as if she had conjured the very essence of divine elegance. Surrounded by plush velvet cushions, it was not a matter of diplomacy. It was a grand performance. And Antony, a connoisseur of grandeur and fine libations, found himself completely entranced. Cleopatra stood her ground, unwavering and resolute. She captivated all who beheld her. In a matter of days, Antony set aside the memories of the interrogation, transforming into her companion, her lover, and ultimately her steadfast political ally. He trailed after her to Alexandria, much like a toga-clad pup, where the winter unfolded in a tapestry of feasting, drinking, and the vibrant creation of a legendary gathering known as the Inimitable Livers. Cleopatra was weaving a tale far beyond the mere act of seduction. She wove together the might of Rome with the allure of Egypt. The bond they shared transcended mere whispers in the night. In a tale of royal lineage, Cleopatra welcomed into the world twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, followed by a third son, Ptolemy Philadelphus. She had woven a legacy steeped in the essence of Roman lineage. Antony, a dramatic turn, had cast aside his Roman wife, who happened to be Octavian's sister. Stirring unrest and tension throughout Rome, the tabloids, if they were made of ancient papyrus, would have burst forth with scandalous tales. Yet Cleopatra's pursuits extended far beyond mere romance. Her heart yearned for the safeguarding of Egypt and the broadening of her realm. Antony bestowed upon her vast territories, including Cyprus, regions of Syria, and even sections of Arabia. To Rome, it appeared as though he was relinquishing pieces of the empire to his alluring companion. To Cleopatra, it appeared as though triumph had graced her presence. In the heart of Rome, Octavian brooded, his thoughts swirling like the shadows. Of the ancient city, Antony was meant to stand by his side. Instead, he was tossing kingdoms about as if they were mere party favors. Reveling in a lifestyle akin to a Hellenistic rock star in the vibrant city of Alexandria, the scene was prepared. The intricate web woven by Cleopatra, Antony, and Octavian was on the brink of unraveling, destined to spiral into chaos and destruction in this moment. Cleopatra possessed affection, territory, and rightful claim. Yet in Rome, the blades were being honed to a fine edge. Once more, by 34 BCE, Cleopatra had transcended her role as merely the Queen of Egypt. She reigned supreme among rulers. In the most precise sense, in that grand year, during a splendid ceremony called the Donations of Alexandria, Mark Antony stood by her side, clad in Roman attire yet embodying the essence of an Eastern ruler. With a flourish befitting a deity, he distributed lands to Cleopatra's offspring, as though he were a god surveying his realm with a map in hand. Caesarion, her firstborn with Julius Caesar, was declared the King of Kings. Her twins with Antony were bestowed the realms of Armenia and Media. Her youngest, Ptolemy Philadelphus, was bestowed with Syria and Cilicia, along with Cleopatra herself. She was proclaimed the sovereign of sovereigns, reigning not only over Egypt, but also over territories that Rome deemed its own. The audience erupted in a thunderous cheer. The Roman senators seethed with indignation. This was not a mere act of giving, it was a proclamation. Cleopatra and Antony shared a bond that transcended mere romance. They were shaping a grand Eastern empire. To Octavian, this lacked any sense of romance. It was an act of betrayal. Visuals painted a troubling picture. In a grand tale of ambition and desire, a Roman general finds himself ensnared by the allure of a foreign queen. As he surrenders provinces to his illegitimate offspring, he drowns his sorrows in the opulent halls of an Alexandrian palace, where the air is thick with the fragrance of lotus and the whispers of impending revolution. Octavian, with his knack for persuasion, embraced the opportunity. He set forth a public campaign of defamation, charging Antony with the betrayal of Roman ideals and branding Cleopatra as the serpent lurking behind the man. He took to the Senate floor, his voice echoing through the chamber as he read aloud Antony's will, a document that had found its way into his hands under dubious circumstances, perhaps even crafted in deception. It spoke of Antony's desire to rest eternally in Alexandria, side by side with Cleopatra. Oh, the drama unfolds. Deceitful, ideal for igniting the fury of the Romans. The clash of forces was destined to unfold. In a time of uncertainty, the Roman populace, wary of kings and the ambitions of women, found their champion in Octavian. He proclaimed a battle not against Antony himself, but against Cleopatra. This was a calculated move. By focusing on a foreign queen, Octavian could craft the narrative of the impending conflict as Rome standing against an outsider, rather than another gruesome civil war. What of Cleopatra? She stood her ground unwaveringly. She dispatched vessels, gleaming silver, and brave soldiers to bolster Antony's campaign. In the year 32 BCE, Cleopatra and Antony embarked on a journey across the waters, united in their resolve to face the formidable forces of Octavian. They had transcended the realm of lovers. Now they stood as steadfast allies in the theater of war, yet shadows of treachery, abandonment, and celestial pride trailed behind them like a lingering mist. Cleopatra had gambled it all, her throne, her children, her very dynasty, for the sake of this alliance. The pivotal question that lingered was whether the divine would bestow their blessings upon love or the pursuit of empire. In the grand tapestry of fate, love seldom finds its place in the heart of Rome. In the fateful month of September in 31 BCE, the destinies of Cleopatra and Mark Antony hinged on a singular, pivotal event, the Battle of Actium. It was meant to be their magnificent victory, a daring defiance against the advancing force of Octavian's Roman Empire. Instead, it unfolded like a gradual calamity with oars, their united armada, anchored along the shores of western Greece, was a sight to behold. A multitude of warships, a legion of men, and a treasure of Egyptian gold that could make even the deities envious. Yet it was also cumbersome, wavering, and burdened by clashing personalities. Cleopatra, at the helm of her own fleet, was far from a mere ornament. She commanded the battlefield, a regal figure at the helm, wagering it all in a high-stakes game. Octavian's forces, under the skilled command of Admiral Agrippa, moved with a swiftness and precision that set them apart. Leaner and more agile than their rivals, they severed the lifelines of supply, taunted the vessels of their foes, and deftly outmaneuvered the sluggish galleys of Antony. In the midst of turmoil, Antony's men found themselves in a dire plight, their spirits waning as hunger gnawed at their resolve. Whispers filled the air, questioning whether their leader's gaze lingered more on the enchanting Cleopatra than on the pressing matters of naval command. Then arrived the moment of notoriety. In the midst of the fierce clash, Cleopatra's fleet made a dramatic pivot, retreating swiftly toward the southern shores of Egypt. Whispers abound, with some insisting it was a calculated move, while others assert it was born of sheer panic. In a moment of deep devotion, or perhaps bewilderment, Antony chose to follow her, leaving behind his fleet and transforming a military confrontation into a disheartening defeat in a twist of fate. Soldiers abandoned and weary laid down their arms before Octavian. The conflict in its core had reached its conclusion. The victory belonged to Rome. Upon their return, the queen and her general found themselves not celebrated as champions, but rather fleeing from the shadows of defeat. In the heart of Alexandria, Cleopatra endeavored to hold on to her power. Determination. She strengthened the city's defenses and dispatched messengers far and wide. She might have even pondered an alternative, bargaining for her own safety by proposing to surrender Antony to Octavian. Yet all efforts proved futile. Octavian approached, and this time there would be no lavish carpets, no grand speeches. and no opportunities for redemption. Mark Antony, consumed by humiliation and descending into despair, cast his accusations upon treachery and the whims of fate. Cleopatra beheld her empire fray, much like delicate linen caught in a tempest. Her sons, the embodiment of her life's work, now stood as potential captives. Her meticulously crafted persona as the sovereign of sovereigns was crumbling to dust. The woman who had once captivated Caesar enchanted Antony and stood boldly against. Rome found herself trapped. What lingered was the decision of her descent. As the summer of 30 BCE unfolded, Alexandria found itself enveloped in an ominous gloom, a heavy shroud of impending fate. Octavian's forces had crossed into Egypt, a city that was once a glittering jewel of the ancient world, now standing on the brink of conquest. Within the grand palace walls, Cleopatra and Mark Antony found themselves slowly unraveling their fates. Antony, once the shining star of Rome's military might, now wandered through life as a mere shadow of his former self. His pride lay in ruins. His forces had either laid down their arms or turned their backs. Whispers danced through the air, suggesting that Cleopatra could be contemplating a clandestine pact with Octavian, one that would see her relinquish her throne and Antony's life. In exchange for the safety of her children, a single lie unraveled the tension that had been building. A messenger, with words woven in deception, proclaimed that Cleopatra had met her end. Perhaps a clever ruse of her own design to gauge Antony's fidelity, or to gain a moment's respite. No matter the scheme, it unraveled spectacularly. Antony, consumed by despair, acted as any Roman man would when confronted with the shattering of his honor. He plunged onto his blade, yet he still drew breath. In a state of torment and bloodshed, was borne to the concealed tomb of Cleopatra, where she had fortified herself amidst her dwindling riches. She stood resolute, unwilling to unlock the doors, her heart gripped by the dread of capture. In a desperate act, they lifted him, dragging his wounded form through a window, and there, in a lavish resting place intended for her, Mark Antony breathed his last in her embrace. Roman tragedy reaches its pinnacle of theatricality in that moment. With great anticipation, Octavian made his way into the vibrant city of Alexandria. In a final act of daring, Cleopatra made her last bold move. She encountered him, adorned in regal garments, seeking to enchant or negotiate her path to survival, perhaps even ascend to power. Yet Octavian, in contrast to Caesar and Antony, remained unmoved by allure or grandeur. He was frigid and precise, inscribing her downfall into the annals of Roman lore. He took her children, claimed her realm, and ensured she would be showcased in Rome as a prize, a vibrant emblem of Roman triumph over the excesses of the East. Cleopatra had witnessed the fate that awaited queens in the wake of Roman victories. Once her sister Arsinoe had traversed that very path, bound in chains, Cleopatra would refuse. She orchestrated her own demise with the meticulousness of an artist, not a mere casualty. On the fateful day of August 1230 BCE, Cleopatra, at the tender age of 39, met her end, shrouded in mystery whether by the subtle touch of a poisoned comb or the fateful bite of an asp remains a tale untold. In ambiguity, the message was absent. Should she be unable to reign with grace, she would meet her end as a sovereign. Cleopatra VII had met her end. Her form, shrouded in mystery and grief, was interred next to Mark Antony, as she had wished, and to the astonishment of many, permitted by Octavian. Once upon a time, the queen and the general envisioned a grand empire, but now they lay entwined in the remnants of their shattered dreams. Yet the shadow of Cleopatra's influence lingered long after her final breath. In truth, it granted her a timeless existence. As Octavian, on the brink of becoming Augustus, the inaugural emperor of Rome, had emerged victorious. Once upon a time, Egypt found itself woven into the grand tapestry of the Roman Empire, becoming a province under its vast dominion. In a hushed and somber manner, the tale of Caesarion unfolds. The son of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, who met his end in a quiet execution. The remaining children were taken to Rome in chains, where they were brought up by Octavia, the Roman wife of Antony. History can be unforgiving in its lessons. Yet Cleopatra stood resolute against the tides of time, determined to leave her mark. She endured, not through grand monuments or statues, many of which lay in ruins or were transformed, but through the tales that echoed through time. In the grand tapestry of Roman propaganda, she emerged as a captivating enchantress, weaving her spell over noblemen and guiding them down treacherous paths. In the realm of art, she emerged as the enchanting sovereign, adorned with precious gems, holding an asp close to her heart. In the realm of literature, she embodied tragedy, romance, and danger, often intertwining them in a captivating dance. The true essence of Cleopatra, undoubtedly, is far more intricate. She stood as the final beacon of a lineage that had reigned for 300 years. She wove her words in 9 different tongues. She wielded her skills in diplomacy, naval strategy, and survival with the finesse of a seasoned navigator. Thriving in a realm where rulers fell as effortlessly as flies caught in honey, she endured the shadows of assassins, the chaos of civil wars, and the formidable presence of 2 of Rome's mightiest figures. She reigned over Egypt not merely as a figurehead, but as a sovereign of divine right who grasped the essence of her people, strategized for the future, and envisioned dreams that transcended the banks of the Nile. Her passing signified the conclusion of the Hellenistic era. Her departure marked the end of an era, for Egypt would never again see the throne graced by a native-born pharaoh. The temples would hush into stillness. The ancient symbols would gradually disappear. Yet the enchanting, astute, and beguiling Cleopatra would endure. For ages yet to unfold, she would be envisioned as a seductress, a savior, a divine figure, a cunning strategist. Shakespeare transformed her essence into verses that dance and sing. Hollywood transformed her into a captivating spectacle. And with each passing generation, it appears they unearth her essence anew. Grappling with the question of whether she was a cunning seductress, driven by ambition, or a remarkable woman, overwhelmed by the weight of empire, perhaps she embodied both aspects. Yet there is an undeniable truth. As the ancient world drew its final breath, it resonated with the echoes of Cleopatra's voice. In the span of the 8th to the 14th centuries, the Islamic world emerged as a vibrant hub of culture and creativity, from the shimmering courts of Al-Andalus in present-day Spain to the revered libraries of Baghdad. This expansive civilization was engaged in more than just the exchange of silk and science. It was also sharing melodies and harmonies. Music was a vibrant tapestry woven into the fabric of life. It was a rich tapestry of healing, numbers, faith, and joy, intricately intertwined into one enduring legacy, in contrast to the many medieval European settings where music was typically confined to the sacred spaces of churches or the grandeur of courts. The Islamic world welcomed a more inclusive and expansive perspective on music. Melodies danced through mosques, markets, palaces, and the intimate corners of private homes. It sparked discussions among philosophers, found its way into the writings of doctors, and was imparted in madrasas alongside the wonders of astronomy and geometry. In this realm, sound transcended mere amusement. It was a glimpse into the grand design, a reflection of the celestial harmony. Arabic music, a rich tapestry woven from the threads of its neighbors, embraced Persian refinements, Byzantine modalities, and Indian rhythms. Yet it did not merely borrow. It transformed and synthesized these influences into something uniquely its own. In a world where creativity flourished, musicians and theorists wove intricate scales known as maqamat, crafted rhythmic cycles called ikat, and explored profound theories that unveiled the emotional and even physical impacts of diverse melodic forms. They crafted elaborate narratives, detailing how a particular approach could lift the weight of sorrow, rejuvenate weary bodies, or guide the spirit toward greater enlightenment. Within the grand palaces of Damascus and Cordoba, caliphs welcomed court musicians who were not only performers but also learned scholars. In fact, Some rulers, like the Abbasid Caliph Harun al-Rashid, considered musical patronage a sign of prestige. Instruments were not merely heard, they were revered. They were likened to the essence of the human voice, the melody of birdsong, and the soft murmurs of the divine. The outcome, a harmonious legacy that intertwines the essence of knowledge with the depths of the soul. Through the ages, melodies have served as a balm for the soul, a teacher of wisdom, a whisper of allure, and a rallying cry against oppression. It acted as a vibrant means of expression and a powerful instrument of empire, weaving together the rich tapestry of Arabic-speaking cities with the lyrical verses of Persian poets, the rhythmic beats of Berber drummers, and the melodic strings of Andalusian musicians. This realm was free from the constraints of strict notation and forgotten manuscripts. In that realm, creativity flowed freely, tales were shared through spoken word, and the essence of experiences lingered in the minds of those who lived them. Through the ages, musicians have absorbed the melodies around them, echoing the rhythms of the past and gradually transforming into conduits for the rich tapestry of sound that has been woven over centuries. Before we delve into the instruments themselves, one truth stands out clearly. In the medieval Islamic world, music was not merely an art form. It was the very essence of life itself. In the heart of the medieval Islamic world, where culture and creativity intertwined, the essence of music resonated through the elegantly curved wooden body of the oud, with its unmistakable pear-shaped silhouette and a neck that flows freely without frets. The oud reigns supreme among musical instruments. Its sound enveloped the listener, rich and full of life, akin to a melody that transcends language. The oud transcended mere musicality. It embodied a legacy of elegance, intellect, and elevated artistry. Verses flowed from poets' quills, likening it to the moon, while mystics whispered of its power to bridge the gap to the divine. In numerous respects, the oud served the Islamic world much like the piano did for Europe in later times, acting as a pivotal foundation for composition, education, and creative exploration. Its origins likely trace back to ancient Mesopotamia, yet in the skilled hands of Muslim craftsmen and musicians, the oud transformed into something truly extraordinary. Crafted from exquisite woods such as walnut, rosewood, or ebony, it often boasted 5 to 7 courses of strings, delicately plucked with a feather or plectrum. The absence of frets opened the door to the delicate microtones of the makam system, a vital element of Arabic music that Western notation struggles to convey. In the vibrant tapestry of the Islamic Golden Age, one name shines brightly among the stars of music and culture: Ziryab. This remarkable figure of the 9th century was not just a master of the oud, but a polymath whose influence extended far beyond the strings of his instrument, embodying the essence of style and innovation. From the ancient streets of Baghdad to the vibrant heart of Cordoba, Ziryab emerged as a transformative figure, weaving his musical genius into the very fabric of the Andalusian court. He wove a 5th string into the UDS melody, unveiled fresh modes, and crafted guidelines for the musician's attire and grooming, shaping the very essence of their art. If medieval Islamic music were a hero, the oud would roam freely beyond the walls of elite society. The merchants engaged in the game, warriors engaged in it. In the sacred practice of Sufi dervishes, it served as a companion to their profound spiritual recitations. It was adaptable, easily carried, and able to convey happiness, sorrow, and all the emotions that lie in the spectrum. And flow of trade and the clash of empires, the oud journeyed across lands and cultures. It journeyed through the Byzantine lands, slipped into Sicily, and ultimately made its way to Europe, transforming into the lute, a term that traces its roots back to the Arabic al-lud. The melodic intimacy of Renaissance and Baroque music traces its roots back to this unassuming predecessor. In a realm adorned with geometric tiles and flowing calligraphic verses, the oud infused the atmosphere with an elusive essence, a deep sense of feeling. It didn't merely resonate through courtyards. It murmured across the ages and where the groundwork was set. Other melodies soon emerged in the grand tapestry of medieval Islamic music. Oud pulsed with the rhythm of the heart, while the qanan danced with the clarity of the mind, each note a thread woven with precision and enchantment. Flat and trapezoidal, the qanan was adorned with dozens of tightly tuned strings, resembling a zither, yet producing a mesmerizing cascade of light and sound. The name inspired by the qanan was indeed appropriate. The qanan wove a tapestry of harmony within ensemble performances. With a tone as clear as a mountain stream, it could etch melodic lines with precision or weave a shimmering tapestry beneath the oud, creating a delicate harmony that dances in the air. It comes as no shock that scholars and theorists were drawn to it. It was the vessel of melodic tales. In the realm of musical instruments, one often encounters the qanan, a captivating creation adorned with 26 courses of triple strings, resulting in a symphony of over 70 strings that resonate beautifully across a delicately crafted wooden soundboard. Musicians adorned their index fingers with rings, securing tortoiseshell plectrums that danced with each strum. What unfolded wasn't merely a cascade of notes, but a vast sea of meticulously crafted feeling. The player could weave arpeggios like a gentle cascade, or unleash brilliant runs that sent tremors through grand palaces. In contrast to the oud, the qanan featured micro-adjustable levers or tuning bridges, enabling the musician to swiftly navigate the intricate maqamat, the delicate modal systems that characterize Arabic, Turkish, and Persian music. A masterful qanan player had the power to transform the emotional landscape during a performance, stirring wonder in even the most hardened of courtiers. The qanan's influence extended far and wide across cultures. From the grand courts of Istanbul to the enchanting gardens of Fez, it echoed through time and space. In Cairo, it was a staple in well-coordinated outfits. In Aleppo, it wove its presence. Alongside poets and vocalists, as they shared the beauty of muasha recitations, the crystalline sound wove seamlessly with the vocals and other instruments, forming the very foundation of the ensemble's arrangements. Time and again, wanderers from Europe spoke of the qanan, their words weaving a tapestry of awe and bewilderment. How could something so precise resonate with such vibrancy? What a marvel it is to witness the swift dance of the fingers. As European musicians endeavored to capture its essence, it had already left its mark on the early hammered dulcimers, harpsichords, and ultimately shaped the very design of the harpsichord itself. Yet, what stands out most about the qanan is its fascinating dual identity. It served as a means of calculated restraint, while also embodying unfiltered passion. A tool of the learned, indeed, yet also a token of affection. In harmony with the oud, the qanan wove a tapestry of sound that transcended mere listening, inviting all to experience the very essence of music in the realm of medieval Islamic instruments. The ney emerged as the most ethereal, resonating with a profound sense of spirituality. A humble reed flute, adorned with 7 holes, whispers a breathy, melancholic tune. The ney transcends mere sound, embodying a realm of mysticism. In a realm where the oud ignited passion and the qanan captivated with its intricate design, the ney softly caressed the spirit. Behold the ney, a timeless instrument that has journeyed through the ages, its roots extending far beyond the dawn of Islam. Yet during the Islamic Golden Age, especially in the realms of Persia and Anatolia, it discovered a profound and enriched significance. It found a warm embrace among the Sufis, the mystical branch of Islam, serving as a poignant symbol of the human condition. Delicate and ethereal, the ney stands as a poignant symbol of the soul, brought to life by the gentle touch of divine love, relying wholly on the player's breath to awaken its essence. The renowned Persian poet Rumi began his celebrated masterpiece, the Masnavi, with a heartfelt ode to the ney. Here the plaintive notes of the reed flute, expressing sorrow for its exile from the place it once knew as home. That solitary line transformed the ney into a sacred emblem, a representation of the deep yearning for oneness with the divine. The ney, in its appearance, was unassuming, crafted from a hollow cane or reed, meticulously cut and dried over the span of many months. It demanded remarkable breath control to master its sound, the sound of the ney, unlike that of modern flutes, emerged not from mechanical precision but from the essence of human endeavor, angled breath-shaped lips, and the culmination of years steeped in discipline. It was a journey of a lifetime, where each note resonated with a delicate fragility. In courts and caravans alike, the sound of the ney echoed, instantly recognizable to all who heard it. It was a tale woven with haunting echoes, laced with pain yet undeniably beautiful. In ensemble performances, it provided a delightful counterpoint to the more piercing tones of plucked strings. In solitude, it had the power to hush even the most boisterous of audiences. In the heart of Sufi ceremonies, known as sama, the air would often be filled with the haunting melodies of ney solos, weaving together threads of prayer and performance in a captivating dance of sound. In the enchanting lands of North Africa, the Maghreb embraced unique renditions of the ney, weaving it into the rich tapestry of their musical traditions alongside other flutes. Within the vast tapestry of the Ottoman Empire, it wove itself into the rich fabric of classical Turkish music. Throughout the vast expanse of the Islamic world, every notable musical tradition found its essence intertwined with it. And as the Ayyud found its imitators and the Kanan transformed, the ney held steadfast to its singular essence. Too delicate, too ethereal, too vibrant to be created in bulk in the hands of a virtuoso, it transcended mere sound. It revealed your essence. When melody awakened the soul, rhythm ignited the body, and nothing captured the essence of medieval Islamic rhythm. Quite like the frame drum and the rick, these instruments wove the fabric of time itself. With skillful hands, they molded it, crafted it, and twirled gracefully within its embrace. In the vibrant tapestry of life, they pulsed with energy, weaving through the courts of Baghdad, bustling markets of Cairo, and the endless caravans traversing the vast desert. The frame drum has existed since the dawn of civilization. A round wooden frame, its surface taut with animal skin, beckons to be touched by fingers, palms, and occasionally the force of fists. In the rich tapestry of musical traditions, the daf and bendir emerged, weaving their unique styles throughout Persia, Iraq, and North Africa. Some were adorned with metal rings or gut snares, creating a rich tapestry of sound, reminiscent of footsteps in sand or the soft hiss of a rattlesnake lurking behind each pulse. In the Arab world, one could find the rick, a tambourine that exudes a certain elegance. Yet to label it a tambourine is akin to referring to a calligrapher as merely a dueler, or it overlooks the essence. With great attention to detail, the rick was crafted with precision and artistry. Quaint wooden frame adorned with a goatskin head accompanied by 5 shimmering sets of brass cymbals, it was a featherweight marvel, easily carried yet brimming with hidden strength. With the deft touch of an artisan, the rick could conjure the roar of thunder or the whisper of a gentle breeze. It resonated with the icoe, the rhythmic cycles that form the very foundation of Arabic music. These were not merely beats per measure, they were intricate patterns that shaped mood, dance, and even the flow of poetry. Artists committed countless melodies to memory, seamlessly transitioning between them in a dance of fluidity during their performances. Once upon a time, there existed the majestic sameh, the spirited miksam, the enchanting wada. Every rhythm possessed a unique essence, a narrative all its own. Drummers held a vital role, not merely as background musicians. They wove the threads of feeling. A sudden pause in the rick cue might herald a moment of profound stillness. A whirlwind of movements could transport dancers into a mesmerizing state. In the sacred dance of Sufi rituals, the framed drums called forth a wave of ecstasy. In the grand tapestry of Andalusian court music, elegance was woven into every note. In the heart of homes and during sacred ceremonies, women would gather around, their hands skillfully striking framed drums, filling the air with rhythms that celebrated weddings, welcomed new life, and marked joyous festivals. Their rhythms resonated within the walls of homes and along the bustling streets, weaving together the intimate and the communal. The influence of Islamic percussion resonated far and wide. Framed drums journeyed into Europe, making their entrance through the vibrant lands of Spain and Sicily. Renaissance music embraced these rhythms, infusing them like rich spices into a bubbling pot. In the absence of rhythm, the melody wanders aimlessly. Yet, with a daf or rick at its heart, Islamic music flowed like breath, rhythmic, sacred, and vibrant. As melodies flowed through bustling markets and cozy homes, they found their grandest manifestation within the lavish courts of caliphs and kings. These courts were more than mere seats of political power. In these vibrant spaces, poets, scholars, and musicians gathered, their voices intertwining beneath the shimmering brass chandeliers, all enveloped in the fragrant embrace of rosewater. In the illustrious city of Baghdad, the court of Harun ar-Rashid shone brightly as a hub of artistic inspiration and support. In this very place, renowned musicians such as Ishaq al-Masili honed their craft, elevating the realms of performance, theory, and composition to new heights. Musical evenings were not mere pastimes, unfolded with purpose, carefully crafted, frequently extended into the late hours of the night. In a world where melodies hold the power to shape destinies, a single song could either bestow upon a musician the gleam of a gold dinar, or cast them into the shadows of silent exile, all swayed by the whims of the caliph's mood. The musicians who graced these courts were not simply performers. They were esteemed thinkers, frequently possessing a breadth of knowledge that allowed them to engage in discussions about poetry, astrology, and metaphysics amidst melodies. Their instruments gleamed with a shine that mirrored the eloquence of their words. Their performances wove together technical prowess and deep emotional insight. It wasn't merely fingers you required. It was a deeper understanding of life itself. In the far reaches of the West, the grand courts of Al-Andalus, particularly in Córdoba and Seville, transformed music into a powerful means of political expression. In this very place, Zuriab, the influential exile from Baghdad, transformed the essence of court life entirely. He wove in musical modes, seasonal wardrobes, and the art of table manners. Picture a man who, at dawn, strums 5 strings with effortless grace, only to transition by midday into a connoisseur of dessert manners, guiding others with his refined knowledge. Ah, that was Zurab. In these courts, music unfolded as a grand display of elegance and artistry. It served to captivate ambassadors, enchant rivals, and display the richness of one's intellect. Transcending mere monetary wealth, the caliphs reveled in their grand orchestras, often featuring a multitude of musicians skilled in an array of maqamat and iqat. Women held significant positions, particularly in intimate gatherings and majlis or salons. There were those who had been bound as courtesans, skillfully nurtured from a tender age in the arts of poetry, music, and the graceful dance of etiquette. These Kian were cherished not only for their beauty, but also for their cleverness and creative flair. Their melodies could charm an audience or weave subtle political commentary through intricately crafted lyrics. These courts were not merely gathering art, they were birthing it. As the life within the courts thrived, music emerged as both a mirror of authority and a means to exert it in the shadows of every resplendent throne. One could sense the anticipation of a finely tuned oud, poised for its moment to shine. In the grand courts of caliphs, where polished performances dazzled the eye, the vibrant pulse of music thrummed through the dusty streets and bustling markets. It was a raw and rhythmic force, spontaneous and often loud enough to rival the clanging of blacksmiths and the braying of camels. In vibrant marketplaces often referred to as souk or bazaars, music played a vital role, weaving together practical needs and deep emotional connections. Wandering minstrels, mix of skilled artists and hopeful souls, filled the air with melodies. In exchange for a few coins and a moment of notice, they wove melodies of affection, shared tales of wisdom or the happenings of the day, occasionally jesting about politicians or celebrating the valor of local champions. The instruments were portable, small frame drums, reed flutes, fiddles, and occasionally the rabab, a spiked fiddle with a voice as scratchy as a neighbor, sharing the latest news in the heart of the streets. Music flowed freely, woven into the very fabric of everyday existence. As the sun rose, Laughter filled the air as children sang their melodies amidst the games they played. Merchants, with a tune on their lips, prepared their vibrant stalls, while camel drivers, in harmony with the rhythm of the desert, chanted to guide their majestic beasts on the long winding paths ahead. Music served as a vessel of memory, imparting values, safeguarding local tales, and signaling the moments to rise, reflect, and find peace. Religious music held a distinct position, rich with subtlety. The adhan, or Islamic call to prayer, while not classified as music, has always been, and continues to be, profoundly melodic. Echoing 5 times daily from the minarets, the adhan unfolds in a tapestry of melodic contours, each thread woven from the rich fabric of regional style. It wasn't a mere whim of creativity. It was a calling to the divine. In the heart of Sufi traditions, music found its way into the very essence of the mosque. The sama, an enchanting spiritual concert, wove together the threads of chanting, recitation, and at times the delicate embrace of instrumental accompaniment. The aim was not for accolades, but for the complete dissolution of the self in a transcendent bliss. In this realm, the ney and the daf transcended their roles as mere instruments. They became the very bridges connecting the visible world to the mysteries that lie beyond. Yet, there were those who cast a discerning eye upon the realm of music. Some traditional scholars, such as Ibn Taymiyyah, expressed strong disapproval of music, viewing it as a diversion from the path of spiritual focus. Some engaged in lively discussions about which instruments were acceptable, allowed, or off-limits. The discussion lingered in the air, unresolved and shifting like the sands of time, influenced by the whims of different eras, places, and leaders. And so, amidst the discord, the melodies continued to weave their enchanting spell. It flowed into weddings, processions, harvest festivals, and funerals, slinked through shadowy alleyways and resonated from lofty balconies. As the learned debated their doctrines, the spirited souls engaged in play. In essence, while the courts may have selected the melodies, the streets embodied the rhythm of life. In the medieval Islamic world, music transcended mere artistry. It was, in essence, a profound science. With the same gravity they applied to astronomy, algebra, and medicine. In their gaze, sound transcended mere perception. It was quantified, contemplated, and harnessed for the art of healing. In the tapestry of history, one figure stands out as a beacon of thought: Al-Farabi, philosopher and polymath of the 10th century. His magnum opus, Kitab al-Musiqa, Al-Kabir, known as the Great Book of Music, weaves together the threads of knowledge and creativity. Al-Farabi wove a rich tapestry of sound, intricately detailing the physics behind instruments, the emotional essence of various maqamat, and the profound influence of melody on the human soul. His work transcended mere entertainment journalism, wove together threads of philosophy, geometry, and psychology into a rich tapestry of insight. In his wake followed Avicenna, also known as Ibn Sina, the renowned Persian physician and philosopher, who wove the threads of music into the fabric of his medical teachings. In the wisdom of Avicenna, it is said that the perfect melody possesses the power to harmonize the body's humors, soothe the restless mind, and assist in the delicate dance of digestion. Indeed, the journey of restoration unfolds through the melodies of sound. In a time long past, before the advent of Spotify's soothing melodies for relaxation and study, medieval hospitals embraced the art of live music, inviting musicians to serenade patients and foster their healing journeys. Music wove itself intricately into the fabric of mathematics. In the spirit of Pythagoras, the wise minds of the Islamic world held a profound belief that the beauty of sound mirrored the very order of the universe itself. The relationships among string lengths, vibrations, and tones were perceived as echoes of a higher harmony. The very fabric of the universe resonated, with the human ear merely attuning itself to a delicate murmur of that cosmic melody. Instruments were crafted with an artistry that echoed the elegance of mathematical precision. Craftsmen of stringed instruments employed ratios and dimensions that echoed the principles found in the realms of architecture and the cosmos. Each oud, each canon, was a melody waiting to be woven into existence. In the vibrant tapestry of knowledge, music theory books blossomed, crafted in the eloquent tongues of Arabic, Persian, and later, the melodic cadence of Ottoman Turkish. These were not merely manuals, they were grand tomes, rich with intricate diagrams, profound philosophical discourses, and distinctive musical notation systems that spoke to the essence of the region. They unveiled the intricate tapestry of scales, intervals, and rhythms, exploring their profound influence on mood, health, and morality. This harmonious blend of sound and science was no mere coincidence. It painted a picture of a reality where all understanding was interconnected. Medicine, music, and metaphysics wove together in a tapestry of interconnectedness. They were melodies woven into the same celestial symphony. Thus, when the oud resonated, or the ney lamented, it transcended mere sound, embodying the very essence of the cosmos. In the vibrant tapestry of the medieval Islamic world, the melodies and rhythms of its music began to weave their way beyond the confines of its borders. It journeyed across vast landscapes, traversing by caravans, sailing the open seas, weaving through the threads of conquest and cultural exchange. And with it departed the instruments, the theories, the rhythms, and the very essence of a civilization. That revered music is both sacred and mathematical. The most immediate and enduring impact found its way to Europe, especially via Al-Andalus, the realm of Islamic Spain. In the vibrant cities of Córdoba, Granada, and Seville, a rich tapestry of culture unfolded as musicians from Muslim, Christian, and Jewish backgrounds came together. They exchanged scales, borrowed melodies, and translated each other's treatises, creating a harmonious blend of traditions. Once upon a time, the oud transformed into the lute, an instrument that took center stage in the enchanting melodies of Renaissance music. Melodic sequences, deeply embedded in Akate, wove themselves into the fabric of medieval troubadour traditions. Even the makam system softly echoed into the early European modes. In the midst of it all, the canon played a pivotal role in shaping the evolution of both the harpsichord and dulcimer. Once upon a time, there existed a remarkable instrument known as the rebab, an early bowed creation that can be traced back as a distant ancestor of the beloved violin. In the rich tapestry of cultural expression, the ney and frame drums emerged, weaving their sounds through the sacred rituals and vibrant folk traditions that span from the Balkans to Central Asia. In essence, the legacy surrounded us, waiting for those who would lend an attentive ear. Yet, the impact flowed in both directions. As the Islamic world embraced the rich tapestry of Greek, Persian, Indian, and Turkic musical ideas, it transformed into a vibrant global repository of sound. Their guardians of wisdom safeguarded the treasures of the past and enriched them further. There, artisans shaped creations that would resonate across the ages. The tale unfolds in the present day. In Turkey, Egypt, Iran, Morocco, and Andalusia, the echoes of classical and folk traditions, steeped in the rich tapestry of medieval music, continue to thrive. The oud continues to capture hearts. The canon and ney endure, cherished and celebrated through teaching and performance. Modern creators weave together the pulsating rhythms of electronic music with the timeless melodies of ancient maqamat. The rhythm continues, echoing with profound tales from the past. And perhaps what stands out the most is the harmony of the system. Through the ages and across the globe, this music has held on to its profound essence. Spontaneity intertwined with form, sacred mingling with the empirical feelings, harmonized with rigor. The essence transcended mere performance. It was a tale woven with significance, in an era frequently recalled for its blades and towering minarets. One might overlook that among the most potent gifts of the medieval Islamic realm was not merely steel or sacred texts, but the enchanting resonance of sound, woven with intention, lifted by whispers and threads, and cherished in recollection. Even after a millennium, its resonance lingers in the air, not merely confined to museums or manuscripts, but resonating in melodies that transcend the ages. In the days of ancient Rome, the union of marriage transcended the simplicity of candlelit dinners and the sincerity of heartfelt vows. It was an alliance forged in legality, transaction adorned with ritual and secured with the weight of ownership. In the days of ancient Rome, when affection was often measured in wealth and land, a declaration of love might have been less about the heart and more about the fortunes entwined. To say "I love you" could very well have been a strategic acknowledgement of a splendid dowry and the advantageous joining of estates. The union of marriage, a sacred bond, was never meant to be a secret affair. It was a tale woven with the threads of politics. In a world where families intertwine through marriage, they seek to elevate their standing, build powerful alliances, and ensure their legacy lives on through the next generation. Only women, senators united in matrimony to secure support, commanders united in the bonds of matrimony for the sake of honor. Even emperors wove their unions into the fabric of perception. If love blossomed between partners, splendid, yet love remained a choice, devotion even more so. In the rich tapestry of Roman marriage, two distinct types emerge as particularly noteworthy. Initially, kamanu, which translates to "with hand," signifies the transition of the wife from the legal authority, potestas, of her father to that of her husband. In this arrangement, the woman seamlessly became part of her husband's family, relinquishing her rights to inheritance from her own family. Ah, the essence of romance, is it not? The second, which ultimately gained greater favor, was sin manu, meaning without hand, in which the wife continued to be legally under her father's authority. This empowered her with greater financial autonomy and enabled her to maintain her property and legal identity. In time, women of the upper class embraced this style, particularly as Roman women started to subtly assert their influence in both social and financial realms. In the heart of the ceremony, known as the conferriatio, a priest presided over the sacred rites, where a shared cake crafted from spelt symbolized unity, and the hands played a pivotal role in this ancient ritual. Yet do not be deceived by the allure of the baked goods. This was not a union of the spirit, it was a matter of public record. Witnesses were summoned, and the contract bore detailed accounts of the dowry. Ah, indeed, the dowry, the very essence that bound it all in harmony. In a tradition steeped in history, the bride's family offered a payment to the groom, a gesture meant to bolster the foundation of their new household. And if a divorce occurred, as was frequently the case, that dowry transformed into a fierce battleground. Holding on to it could lead to a family's financial ruin. Returning it might bring discomfort to the gentleman. Nothing conveys finality quite like the act of returning the furniture. In essence, Roman marriage was a blend of affection and accounting. It catered to the needs of society rather than to emotions in the intricate dance of relationships. Husbands may wear a frosty demeanor, while wives often play their cards with cunning precision. And yet all took on their roles. For in Rome, even the union of marriage was a grand performance. And as the curtain fell on a lackluster performance, the end of the union became merely a formality. In the grand tapestry of Roman society, a noble man seeking a wife often found that love was but a fleeting thought, overshadowed by duty and expectation. Instead, you sought something of greater substance, familial ties, and a name that commands respect. A delightful disposition was an unexpected treasure, akin to discovering your ox had a melodious voice. In the world of the Roman elite, it was common for marriages to be orchestrated while the bride was still in her childhood years. In times of old, a father could choose to promise his daughter in marriage at the tender age of 10 or 12, with the union often taking place soon after she blossomed into womanhood. What's the hurry? In Roman society, the timing of a daughter's marriage was crucial. The sooner she wed, the quicker she could begin the important task of bearing legitimate male heirs, which, let's face it, was the ultimate goal. What held the greatest significance in a bride? To begin, we must explore the roots. Distinguished lineage can transform your political fortunes in the blink of an eye. To wed the daughter of a senator or a former consul was not merely a leap in social standing. was a strategic advancement in one's career. Next, the matter of fertility. The Romans sought partners who could bring forth offspring, ideally in abundance, and especially male heirs. In a remarkable turn of events, the state enacted laws that offer incentives to women who embrace the journey of motherhood by having 3 or more children. Augustus, a master of social dynamics, introduced the Lex Julia and Lex Papilla Papaya, bestowing tax advantages and inheritance privileges upon those who excelled in procreation, the uterus. In ancient Rome was, in many ways, a matter of public discourse. Third, and certainly not the least, comes the dowry. With the bride came riches, and the greater the dowry, the more enticing the union became. In certain families, marriage became a clever tool for cleansing wealth and unifying estates. It wasn't merely a union with the girl. It was a bond with the land, the laborers, and the gleaming silverware that adorned the table. And what of the bride's perspective, sometimes considered in the tale? In the realm of cinema, noose marriages, where privileged women held a semblance of power, the young woman might choose to turn down a suitor, provided her family granted her the freedom to do so. Yet, more frequently, she found herself a mere piece on a polished chessboard, maneuvered with precision, then anticipated to wear a smile. Indeed, the allure played its part naturally. A daughter, polished and poised with radiant skin, a bright smile, and a humble presence, held a greater promise of being selected. Yet, what is beauty if it lacks lineage or wealth, without purpose? It was the ancient Roman equivalent of achieving fame on social media, yet devoid of wealth. Ultimately, Roman wife was selected for her contributions to the household rather than for matters of the heart. As she stepped into that household, the air was thick with anticipation. In ancient Rome, weddings unfolded as grand spectacles, celebrated with vibrant festivities rather than quiet moments shared beneath olive trees. They unfolded as communal, displays woven with threads of white wool and layered with unspoken political narratives. In the grand tapestry of Roman life, a wedding unfolded as a rich blend of sacred rites, familial diplomacy, and elite social mingling. With the bride positioned delicately between divine favor and a pawn in the game of alliances, it all started. With the sponsalia, ceremonial engagement that could be solidified with a simple handshake, or perhaps a written vow, fathers gave their consent. Witnesses acknowledged the moment, and the future bride frequently found herself with little voice. In the unfolding tale, the groom often found himself in the vibrant years of his 20s or 30s, while the bride, a youthful spirit, typically embraced her early teens. There's something truly magical about forging a lasting connection, even before the echoes of childhood fade away. The centerpiece of the gathering was the wedding, adorned with all the traditional flourishes and fanfare, though the bells themselves were notably absent. In a scene rich with tradition, the bride donned a pristine white tunic, the tunica recta, elegantly secured with a unique knot of Hercules. This knot, a symbol of fertility, whispered tales of both promise and the challenge of untying it, embodying the effort and commitment that lay ahead. Her hair was divided with precision, reminiscent of ancient Roman warrior ideals, and fashioned into 6 intricate braids, crowned with a vibrant flame-colored veil. The flamme, she appeared not as a mere young woman, but rather as a divine figure, destined for sacrifice. Picture a ceremony that unfolds in 2 distinct ways, one steeped in religious tradition, where sacred bread is shared. 10 witnesses stand by, and a priest officiates, or a purely civil affair, shaped by the social status and desires of the families at play. The layers of meaning were abundant, and the details were unmistakably straightforward. This tale transcended the mere connection of 2 individuals. There were 2 houses, and their tales were known by all. Once the formalities were complete, the bride was spirited away from her parents in a playful abduction, a dramatic homage to the storied tale of the Sabine women as she crossed the threshold of her new abode. She was embraced by the elements of fire and water, the very essence of a life yet to unfold. And so the wedding feast arrived, a grand affair that could swing from humble to extravagantly lavish, all hinging on the number of senators one sought to impress. Amidst the exchange of gifts and the clinking of glasses, a couple, who had scarcely shared words in the past, stood poised to embark on their new journey with a precision reminiscent of ancient Rome. There was no time for romance, no leisurely days to discover one another. Only the weight of obligation, the pressure of familial expectations, and a mountain of dowry documents to navigate. As the garlands withered and the guests meandered back to their abodes, the true essence of marriage unfolded softly within the confines of the domus, where the facade surrendered to the rhythm of everyday life. Once the wedding feast concluded and the togas were stowed away, Roman marriage transitioned into a realm far removed from the grand spectacle, embracing the simplicity of domestic life, yet let not silence be confused with tedium. In the heart of Roman households, each one a small empire, marriage unfolded as a constant dance of power, duty, and the quest for survival. In the lives of the elite couples, the household or domus served as a vibrant center of political and social engagement. The man frequently found himself immersed in the realms of law, the military, or the intricate dance of politics. The wife, she orchestrated the home. And that wasn't merely about arranging cushions with care in the heart of Rome. A matron reigned supreme, guiding her household with a firm yet graceful hand. She orchestrated the lives of her slaves, deftly managing the family's finances while nurturing the next generation. With a keen eye for detail, she planned elaborate religious ceremonies and navigated the intricate web of social dynamics, ensuring her family's prominence in society. At times, she quietly fueled the journey of her husband's ambitions. Bound by the ties of a marriage, she remained a part of her father's lineage, yet in reality, she held significant sway. In the annals of history, certain women stand out, such as Cornelia, the revered mother of the Gracchi brothers, and Livia, the astute wife of Augustus, both celebrated for their remarkable wisdom and keen political insight. These were not merely housewives, they were strategists, clad in tunics, yet the standards were unwavering. In ancient Rome, the ideal wife embodied chastity, modesty, obedience, and a subtle elegance, never drawing too much attention to herself. The perfect matron was celebrated for her skill in spinning wool and her ability to remain silent. Should her betrayal come to light, it could spell disaster for her. And under Augustus's Lex Julia, it might even lead to her banishment. The husband, however, found a way to indulge in the company of a mistress, provided she belonged to no other man. Roman double standards shimmered with a golden hue. Yet within the tapestry of life, numerous unions blossomed with warmth and gentleness. Love, letters, tomb inscriptions, and poetry weave a tapestry of genuine emotional connections. Husbands celebrated their wives as cherished companions, inspiring muses, and true equals. One inscription simply states, "She lived with me for 40 years without a single quarrel," a sentiment that could be seen as profoundly romantic or entirely concocted. Little ones were a common dream, and the gift of life held a reverent significance. A woman who brought forth numerous offspring ascended in social stature, while one who did not often encountered doubt, scrutiny, and the weight of blame. The shadows of loss, the heartache of tiny lives lost, and the perils of bringing new life into the world cast a delicate pall over family existence. Ultimately, the essence of Roman marriage transcended mere romance or the monotony of daily life. It was a dynamic force, a coalition that influenced the realms of governance, commerce, and heritage. Yet when that machine faltered, the Romans unveiled a remarkably straightforward remedy. In the heart of ancient Rome, marriage unfolded as a grand public alliance. But the tale of divorce? That was frequently approached with the same ease as ending a subscription. There's no grand spectacle of legal battles, no divine guidance, merely a declaration of purpose. And at times, not even that. In Rome, divorce carried no scandalous weight. In the grand tapestry of society, particularly among the elite, it was a common tale marriages crafted not from the threads of love, but woven for the sake of strategy. Should the alliance cease to fulfill its political, financial, or social purposes, it could be unraveled just as swiftly as it was formed, throughout much of the Republic and extending into the Empire. The act of divorce unfolded without the need for written contracts, official endorsements, or any particular justification. Straightforward proclamation, tuas res tibi habeto, gather your belongings and depart, could bring the union to a close. And so it came to pass. In a time long past, the concept of no-fault divorce emerged, predating the modern family law we know today by 2 millennia. In this dynamic, either partner held the power to take the first step. Yet it was often the case that men enjoyed greater liberty to make decisions on their own. In certain instances, women, particularly those in cinema new marriages, took the bold step of filing for divorce on their own accord. They simply needed to step outside and reclaim their dowry, provided the husband chose not to dispute it. Reasons for divorce were diverse: deceit, the struggle to conceive, the aftermath of political turmoil, or simply the irritation of everyday life, could all serve as compelling elements. Should your spouse bring you shame at a dinner gathering, it may warrant a reconsideration of your partnership. When your partner's influence wanes, perhaps it's time for a fresh chapter. Marriage flowed with adaptability, for reputation held immense weight, and the liberty to navigate was equally vital. Divorce was not regarded as something wrong. Indeed, there were those who sought to ascend the political hierarchy through a series of marriages, each union strategically chosen to link them with the daughters of ever more influential allies. Even the mightiest of emperors took part in the tale. In a tale of power and betrayal, Augustus cast out his own daughter Julia, accusing her of infidelity, while he compelled his stepson Tiberius into a wretched union of politics, a bond he would ultimately forsake. Yet there was a time when warmth filled its essence. In the tapestry of relationships, some separations unfold with mutual understanding, while others weave a tale of reunion, as the same couple finds their way back to each other through the intricate dance of love and life. Indeed, the Romans were swapping partners long before it became fashionable. In the heart of the tale lay the true conflict: the dowry. To return was a tradition, yet not a certainty. Should a woman be deemed guilty of infidelity, the husband would have the right to retain her. If he bore any blame, her family could very well seek reparation. And if the situation soured, legal battles could unfold over cups, slaves, or goats. In the end, the process of divorce in Roman times was remarkably efficient, transactional, and strikingly modern. It was free of remorse, yet brimming with whispers. If you believe that divorce put an end to the unfolding saga, prepare for a twist. Next came the children. In the realm of ancient Rome, the essence of marriage transcended the notion of love. It was indeed children of rightful lineage. Children were not merely a source of personal delight. They were the binding force that united a family's legacy, land, and aspirations for political influence. When a marriage came to a close, the inquiry was never about who would take the children, but rather whose legacy would they carry forth. In the realm of Roman law, the mantle of custody typically fell upon the father, a reflection of the societal norms of the time. In a time when the bonds of family were defined by the father's unwavering authority, children belonged to his realm. Enveloped in the embrace of his nearly unyielding power, regardless of whether the mother took the first step towards divorce, the children stayed with their father, unless he passed away or was deemed legally incapable. This signified that women, regardless of their standing, could find themselves severed from their children the instant they departed from the union. In times past, it was quite ordinary for a woman to embark on a new journey of love, establishing a fresh home while her children stayed behind, nurtured by their father, a stepmother, or a devoted group of caretakers and educators. By today's standards, it may seem harsh, yet the Romans placed a higher value on the preservation of bloodlines than on emotional ties. Fathers held the reins of education, orchestrated marriage arrangements, and even dispensed punishments, which could be quite severe at times in the realm of law. There existed a chilling notion that a father might, under certain beliefs, take the life of his own child, though such actions were exceedingly rare and met with widespread disapproval in society. Yet the weight of symbolic authority loomed large, while Roman parents, especially mothers, often displayed profound affection. Gravestones and inscriptions whisper with gentle words of love and remembrance. She illuminated our home with her presence. In his brief 5 years, he illuminated the lives of everyone around him with pure joy. In the midst of the system, the presence of human emotion lingered, unwavering and profound, from the moment they took their first breath. Sons of elite families were meticulously prepared for the grand stage of public life. Young lads were schooled in the art of persuasion, the chronicles of the past, and the noble qualities of a warrior. In the grand tapestry of life, daughters were groomed for the intricate dance of noble unions, mastering the virtues of modesty and obedience, while honing the skills necessary to oversee a household bustling with 50 servants and a lineage spanning generations. Children, born outside of wedlock, faced a harsh reality, as they were often stripped of rights unless they were formally acknowledged. Adoption, in contrast, emerged as a formidable instrument. A man without children might choose to adopt a nephew or another's son, asking to carry on his legacy beyond his own lifetime. Emperors such as Augustus and Hadrian masterfully employed adoption as a clever strategy to secure heirs when nature did not align with their ambitions. In Rome, children were not merely a source of happiness. They were the very foundation of society, with every marriage, every divorce, and every dynasty resting upon their young shoulders. In the midst of legal disparities, Roman women, particularly those hailing from noble lineages, wielded a surprising degree of influence over the realms of marriage and divorce through astute strategies, influence, and keen political acumen. Numerous Roman women discovered how to navigate the system instead of being overwhelmed by it. Consider Livia Drusilla, the esteemed spouse of Augustus. In a twist of fate, she parted ways with her first husband while carrying a child. Indeed, it's true. To unite with Octavian, who was destined to rise as emperor, she rose to become a figure of great political influence in Roman history, guiding her husband, orchestrating succession, and overseeing her own estates with skill and cunning. She didn't merely endure the trials of the Roman marriage game, she became its unrivaled champion. Imagine Fulvia, a woman of remarkable influence, who entwined her fate with not one, not two, but 3 illustrious Roman figures, each more driven by political ambition than the previous. In the grand tapestry of history, her last partner, Mark Antony, ventured away from Rome, drawn to the allure of Cleopatra. Yet Fulvia had already etched her legacy, rallying legions and safeguarding Antony's ambitions while he was away. Though she wore the ring of matrimony, she always stood at the forefront, never in the shadows. Women hailing from noble lineages were frequently well-versed in education, adeptly overseeing grand estates and navigating financial matters with the skill of a seasoned financier. There were women of such immense wealth and power that their dowries became tools to rescue their husbands' careers, or were strategically withheld during divorce negotiations, serving as a potent bargaining chip. A clever woman could maintain her riches apart and her possibilities wide open. The sine manu marriage model played a pivotal role by remaining legally bound to their father's household. Instead of shifting into their husband's domain, these women preserved a unique degree of financial independence. This empowered them to embark on the journey of divorce, take charge of their own fortunes, and choose to remarry or not, according to their own desires. Widows, too, found their liberation. In a time long past, when a husband departed from this world, a woman emerged into her own, stepping into the realm of legal adulthood, free from the shadows of male authority. In a world where many widows found themselves with newfound wealth, they often chose the path of solitude, embracing their independence and quietly shaping the social landscape around them with their significant influence. Certainly not every woman of Rome held the stature of a Livia or a Fulvia in the gentle embrace of everyday existence. Countless souls found themselves woven into the fabric of domesticity. Yet, within the lofty ranks, a procession of women skillfully navigated the marriage system. wielding their influence with the same finesse as any senator maneuvered through the halls of power. In a world that insisted women should be confined to the loom, some spun intricate tapestries of political legacies instead. In a society where marriage was approached with practicality and divorce was treated with a casual air, ancient Rome held surprisingly stringent views on adultery, particularly concerning women. Entanglements were not merely personal, they wove through the fabric of politics, law, and at times, they danced dangerously close to the edge of life and death. The contrast was unmistakable. In ancient Rome, a husband had the freedom to share his bed with slaves, prostitutes, or concubines, free from legal repercussions provided they were not wed to another man. In contrast, a wife was bound by the expectations of chastity, modesty, and unwavering loyalty, facing the looming threat of public disgrace and legal repercussions should she falter. In a pivotal moment of legal history, Augustus introduced his morality laws. Notably, the Lex Julia de Adulteris Coascendis, which addressed the punishment of adultery. These laws transformed adultery into a spectacle for all to witness, elevating it from mere private disgrace to a matter of public scrutiny. In a time when honor was paramount, husbands found themselves bound by duty to expose their unfaithful wives. To remain silent could tarnish their name, or even worse, invite the specter of prosecution for the grave offense of Lenocinium. A woman found guilty may face the loss of her dowry, exile to a distant isle, and the potential revocation of her citizenship rights. Her beloved encountered comparable consequences. Trials unfolded as grand spectacles, steeped in public scrutiny and laden with humiliation. Families found themselves ensnared in scandal, their reputations crumbling like fragile pottery. Yet these laws have not always served the purpose of safeguarding morality. They were instruments of political maneuvering. In a twist of fate, Augustus cast out his own daughter, Julia the Elder, for the sin of adultery. Yet as the pages of history turn, many scholars whisper that the true motive lay not in her romantic escapades, but rather in the intricate web of her political connections. In a twist of destiny, his granddaughter would soon encounter a similar fate. It appears that morality served as a splendid justification for addressing issues of succession. Men, too, found themselves entangled in scandal, yet the repercussions they faced were often less severe. Public figures who ventured too deeply into affairs, such as Mark Antony's overt romance with Cleopatra, faced mockery, scorn, and at times were ousted from their positions of power. Witty commentators such as Juvenal and Martial crafted their legacies by lampooning the audaciously uninhibited, regardless of gender. Yet numerous transgressions slipped through the cracks of justice. In a world where privacy was a fleeting whisper, gossip flowed like a river, and the ever-watchful eyes of political foes scrutinized each step taken. For women, a single misstep could lead to banishment. For men, it often translated to a series of eye rolls and the inspiration for a fresh poem celebrating their fervent desires. In ancient Rome, the act of infidelity transcended mere betrayal of promises. It was a tale woven with threads of honor, property, and the quest for control. It has the power to shatter a union, stain a family legacy, or topple a grand political empire, and when the harm had been wrought, a singular path remained to be taken. Advance forward in accordance with the law, openly and with your dowry, hopefully preserved. Two millennia have passed, yet the whispers of Roman unions continue to resonate, not in our tales of love and laughter, perhaps, but in the fabric of our laws, contracts, and social norms. Though Rome may have fallen, its essence of union has subtly endured, woven into the very fabric of Western civilization. In the realm of Roman unions, the essence was seldom rooted in love, at least. Not as the primary foundation, it revolved around hierarchy, inheritance, and the fabric of society. And yet, a number of the mechanics possess a strangely contemporary flair. The tale of prenuptial agreements. In ancient times, the Romans engaged in the practice of dowry contracts, separation through proclamation. The Romans were the trailblazers of no-fault separation, conflicts over guardianship, Conflicts over legacies? What about the rights to property? The initial drafts were penned by Rome. Their adaptability was crucial in the tapestry of ancient societies, where marriage was often woven with threads of sanctity and permanence. Rome stood apart, viewing it instead as a mere civic arrangement. Weighty, indeed, yet fleeting. In a world where practicality reigned, Roman women, especially from the upper echelons of society, navigated the waters of multiple marriages, gathered riches, and wielded their influence in the realm of politics. In a society that denied them the right to hold office, marriage emerged as their clandestine pathway to influence. The legal distinctions crafted sin, manu, cum manu, dowry clauses. Patria potestas laid the groundwork for civil law across much of Europe, leaving a lasting impact on contemporary systems from France to Latin America. Even the term matrimony has its roots in Latin, originating from matrimonium, which literally signifies the condition of being a mother, that reveals the essence of Roman priorities. Yet it is this that stands as our most profound mark on the world. The Romans engaged in endless discussions about the purpose of marriage. Was it for the purpose of creating successors, to forge bonds, in search of a kindred spirit? Even the sages of old engaged in spirited debates over it. There were those who sang the praises of humble wives and unpretentious abodes. Some voiced their grievances about domineering women, persistent husbands, and the increasing tide of separations in their era as the empire approached its twilight. The quill of the satirist danced with a touch of melancholy, lamenting that unions had become fleeting, mere whispers compared to the ever-changing styles of hair. Among the aristocracy, tales were spun of individuals who had walked down the aisle 6 or 7 times, each marriage a calculated move in the grand game of politics, more convenient than the last. Amidst the myriad of rules, rituals, and expectations, the essence of Roman marriage was ultimately crafted by individuals imperfect, driven and fervent individuals, striving to harmonize their personal yearnings with the weight of societal demands. Though they faced challenges along the way, their legacy was a remarkably sturdy framework that endured through time. So the next time you catch a glimpse of a wedding ring, a divorce settlement, or a political power couple flashing smiles that don't quite reach their eyes, keep in mind that the Romans were already mastering this art long ago. With fewer vows and an abundance of marble,